Before we begin tonight's journey, I need your help. This channel is small and growing. It means I can create more of these peaceful explorations for you. If you find comfort here, please take just a moment to like this video and subscribe. It truly makes a difference. Your support helps this channel reach others who need these quiet moments too. Now, settle in, get comfortable. Let your body sink into stillness. Welcome to the Serene Science channel. Tonight, we venture deep into the hidden corridors of human psychology, exploring mysteries of thought, emotion, and the patterns that shape who we are. We'll uncover truths both gentle and startling, how a simple smell can resurrect memories from decades past, why your brain sometimes decides things before you're even aware of choosing. This evening unfolds as a collection of psychological wonders and mental peculiarities, glimpses into realms where time bends, emotions reshape what we perceive, and unspoken thoughts travel between minds. You may drift toward sleep, or simply let these insights wash over you like gentle waves. Either way is perfect. For now, there's nothing to do but breathe slowly, release the day's tension, and allow the mysteries of your own mind to unfold softly around you. Let us begin. Topic 1. Nighttime honesty increases as evening deepens into night. Something subtle but profound shifts within us. Mental guards we carefully maintain throughout daylight hours begin loosening their grip, gradually dissolving like morning fog under the sun's warmth. Fatigue works like a gentle solvent on the sophisticated filters we habitually use to monitor our words and mask our authentic thoughts from others and sometimes even from ourselves. Later, at night, when exhaustion significantly reduces our capacity for careful self-surveillance and social performance, people frequently speak with noticeably greater directness and emotional honesty, revealing perspectives and feelings they might reflexively conceal during brighter, more socially demanding hours. This phenomenon doesn't suggest every midnight conversation automatically becomes completely unfiltered truth-telling without any remaining boundaries, but the measurably reduced cognitive oversight genuinely makes truthfulness flow more naturally and effortlessly. Researchers in psychology also observe that nighttime's inherently quiet, intimate quality actively encourages emotional openness and vulnerability. Fewer external distractions exist to pull attention away from internal experience. Lighting grows softer and less harsh, and the world itself seems to pause in collective restful stillness. During these darkened hours, dialogues can wander naturally into deeply personal territory, occasionally strengthening emotional bonds between people in ways that daylight conversations rarely achieve. The pattern certainly isn't universal across all individuals and personality types, yet many people intuitively recognize this sensation from their own experience. Words emerge more freely beneath night's protective cover, almost as if consciousness relaxes into its authentic rhythm, finally allowing carefully guarded thoughts to step courageously into the open air of spoken language. Topico 2. Divided attention weakens memory. Attempting to juggle multiple activities simultaneously might create an initial impression of impressive efficiency and productivity. But this mental juggling act actually systematically undermines how effectively we encode and store memories for later retrieval. Our attention system evolved to function optimally when concentrated fully on a single focus, and artificially fragmenting it forces different information streams to compete intensely for severely limited cognitive resources. This internal competition frequently results in memories that lack important detail, feel frustratingly vague, or vanish entirely from conscious recollection when we later try to access them. Consider the common example of trying to scroll through text messages while simultaneously attempting to listen attentively to a friend speaking. You'll almost certainly forget crucial elements of what they shared because your fragmented attention couldn't adequately process their words for proper memory storage. Extensive research demonstrates that individuals who habitually multitask across extended periods may increasingly struggle to filter irrelevant information from relevant signals, gradually making sustained concentration progressively more challenging over time. The attention system itself becomes less discriminating and effective with chronic multitasking exposure. Multitasking's powerful appeal lies primarily in its superficial appearance of productivity and efficient time use. However, the mind actually records life's experiences with far greater richness, detail, and emotional depth when granted permission to linger thoughtfully and completely on one thing at a time, without competing demands. In our relentlessly modern world, constantly demanding rapid mental switching between disparate tasks consciously, choosing to engage with one activity slowly, thoroughly, and completely can feel almost luxuriously countercultural, and your memory systems will genuinely appreciate this increasingly rare gift of focused, undivided attention. Topico 3. Human touch diminishes pain perception. The gentle warmth of someone's hand resting caringly on your shoulder, or fingers intertwined supportively with yours, accomplishes far more than providing simple emotional comfort or social connection. These seemingly simple physical gestures can fundamentally alter how your entire nervous system interprets and processes pain signals traveling upward through your body toward conscious awareness. Physical contact directly activates specific sensory neural pathways that effectively compete with pain transmission routes for the brain's limited attention, meaningfully reducing the subjective intensity of discomfort signals that ultimately reach conscious perception. Touch also prompts your brain to release oxytocin, a powerful neurochemical strongly associated with social bonding, trust formation, and measurable stress reduction throughout multiple body systems. In one particularly fascinating and well-designed research study, romantic partners who maintained continuous hand contact throughout a deliberately painful experimental procedure reported experiencing significantly less subjective discomfort than control participants who faced the same pain stimulus alone. Even more remarkably and unexpectedly, sophisticated brainwave monitoring revealed that their neural oscillation patterns began spontaneously synchronizing with each other during this shared painful experience. This observed neurological synchronization powerfully suggests that touch doesn't merely provide surface emotional soothing or psychological distraction. It can actually create a measurably shared physiological state between two physically connected people that actively diminishes suffering for the person experiencing acute pain. During moments of intense physical or emotional distress, a gentle, caring touch functions simultaneously as protective shield against harm and stabilizing anchor to the present moment, quietly reminding the suffering body that it doesn't face difficulty in complete isolation. Sometimes the simplest human gestures carry the most profound healing capacity, working through biological mechanisms that science continues discovering and documenting. Tópico 4. Influences. Decisions unconsciously. Odors frequently bypassed conscious analytical thought entirely, traveling along remarkably direct neural pathways straight to ancient brain regions, intimately involved with emotion processing and memory formation. This unusually direct neurological route means environmental scent can significantly influence mood states and behavioral choices without our conscious awareness that anything external is systematically affecting our decision-making processes. In carefully controlled experimental settings, pleasant ambient fragrances dispersed subtly in retail environments have demonstrably and measurably increased customers' statistical likelihood of making purchases beyond their original intentions. Similarly fascinating, the barely detectable smell of cleaning products has been reliably shown to increase a spontaneous tendency to tidy and organize their immediate surroundings even when participants remain completely unaware any scent stimulus is present in their environment. These subtle yet powerful psychological effects operate effectively because scent possesses the neurological capacity to prime particular thought patterns or activate specific mental associations stored deep in memory. Lavender fragrance may reliably induce states of calm relaxation and reduced anxiety. Citrus aromas might unconsciously signal freshness, cleanliness, and energetic vitality to the subconscious interpretive mind. While we commonly conceptualize decision-making as a purely rational, deliberate, and conscious process under our complete control, the complex reality involves countless invisible sensory cues constantly tipping mental scales in subtle directions we do unconsciously recognize or acknowledge. Becoming genuinely aware of this pervasive hidden influence can feel authentically empowering and illuminating, allowing us to finally recognize when our supposedly autonomous choices are being quietly swayed by scent's subtle chemical language drifting invisibly through the air around us, shaping behavior beneath the threshold of awareness. Tópico 5. Believing you slept well improves performance in a fascinating and counterintuitive psychological twist that challenges our understanding of rest. merely believing. You've experienced quality sleep can genuinely enhance cognitive performance and measurably elevate mood the following day regardless of your objective actual sleep quality measured by scientific instruments. In one particularly intriguing and carefully designed study, research participants explicitly told they'd achieved above average sleep quality during the night, subsequently performed significantly better on demanding cognitive testing, completely independent of how well they'd actually slept according to physiological monitoring. This curious and powerful effect, termed placebo sleep by researchers studying the phenomenon, reveals profound truths about how expectation can tangibly shape both mental and physical states through belief alone. The brain efficiently employs belief as a practical shortcut mechanism, actively adjusting available energy levels and focus capacity, based primarily on perceived rest quality rather than relying purely on objective physiological reality measured by external devices. Genuine sleep naturally remains completely irreplaceable for long-term health maintenance and optimal cognitive function over extended periods. However, this documented phenomenon reveals the mind's genuinely surprising capacity to meaningfully influence how the physical body feels and performs in the immediate term. It suggests that a meaningful component of feeling subjectively rested comes not exclusively from actual sleep duration or quality, but significantly from the internal narrative we construct and tell ourselves about that rest experience. Your brain listens remarkably carefully to the story you tell yourself about how well you've slept, and responds accordingly by allocating cognitive resources and setting realistic performance expectations for the coming day. The mind possesses genuinely remarkable power to reshape immediate physical experience through the influential lens of belief and expectation, even when that belief contradicts objective physiological measurements. Tópico 6. Sensing when someone watches you. Many individuals have experienced the peculiar and somewhat unsettling sensation of being observed by unseen eyes, only to turn around and discover it as genuinely true. Someone's focused gaze was indeed resting intently upon them. While science hasn't yet completely explained this uncanny phenomenon to full satisfaction, emerging research suggests that extremely subtle environmental cues may alert us unconsciously to social attention. Perhaps a barely perceptible shift in ambient shadows cast across our peripheral visual field, minute changes detected in the very edges of peripheral vision, or even faint sounds. Too quiet for conscious awareness, yet still processed by the auditory system. These tiny environmental signals might collectively trigger subconscious recognition of focused social attention directed toward us. The human brain evolved over millennia to be exquisitely sensitive to detecting when other eyes focus upon us, as knowing precisely when others observed us proved absolutely vital throughout our entire evolutionary history for both survival and social navigation. Evolutionary psychologists proposed this heightened sensitivity helped our ancient ancestors simultaneously avoid dangerous predators while navigating increasingly complex social interactions within their growing communities. Whether operating through peripheral perception mechanisms or some deeper instinctual awareness system we don't yet fully understand, the sensation of being watched can feel so immediately compelling that it prompts automatic action before conscious reasoning has adequate time to catch up and analyze the situation rationally. It's a quiet but insistent nudge from our more primitive ancestral selves, an ancient alarm system still operating faithfully beneath modern consciousness. We carry within us countless sophisticated survival mechanisms inherited from ancestors who depended absolutely on such heightened awareness to stay alive in dangerous environments, and occasionally these old neurological systems still speak clearly enough that we instinctively listen and immediately respond. Tópico 7. Body language reveals unacknowledged emotions. Physical posture, subtle unconscious gestures, and fleeting micro-expressions, lasting mere fractions of seconds, frequently reveal complex emotional states we have yet consciously acknowledged even to ourselves. For instance, arms crossed defensively across the chest may signal feelings of protectiveness or psychological resistance, while barely noticeable shifts in vocal tone can indicate underlying unease or emotional discomfort we're not consciously aware of experiencing. Psychologists have repeatedly observed that these nonverbal cues sometimes become clearly visible to external observers before they crystallize clearly in our own conscious awareness, essentially providing an external mirror reflecting our internal emotional landscape back to us through others' perceptions. Developing genuine awareness of your own body language patterns can reveal previously hidden stress, unrecognized attraction, or suppressed excitement brewing beneath conscious awareness. Similarly, learning to read others' nonverbal signals more accurately and sensitively can significantly deepen empathy and enhance interpersonal understanding in relationships. This silent physical language operates continuously in parallel with spoken verbal communication, and frequently speaks with considerably greater honesty than carefully chosen words deliberately selected to create specific impressions. In moments of genuine self-reflection and introspection, imagining how your body holds itself in physical space can feel remarkably similar to overhearing your mind's unspoken thoughts being expressed directly through physical form. Your shoulders, your hands, the angle of your head, all constantly broadcasting detailed messages about your inner emotional state. The body rarely lies convincingly, even when the conscious mind carefully constructs elaborate verbal facades intended to conceal true feelings. Physical truth inevitably leaks through our posture and unconscious gestures, remaining visible to those who've learned to watch carefully and interpret accurately. Topico 8 Scent unlocks lifetime buried memories. Human olfactory sense connects with extraordinary depth and directness into the brain's most ancient memory systems. Unlike sight or sound, which follow longer neural pathways, scent bypasses much of the brain's typical processing routes, connecting almost directly to the limbic system, the ancient evolutionary seat of emotion and long-term memory storage. This unusual and remarkably direct neural pathway explains why a faint trace of perfume, fresh rain striking pavement, or a childhood meal slowly cooking can feel like stepping into an actual time machine. Scent regard memories often arrive vividly detailed and intensely emotionally charged, even when recalling moments from many decades past. Psychologists call this phenomenon the Proust effect, named after the French author who famously wrote of tasting a Madeleine cookie and being swept instantly into vivid childhood recollection with overwhelming sensory detail. Such powerful moments remind us that our minds are unsimple filing cabinets, storing information neutrally in organized drawers. Instead, they're living landscapes where memories hide in unexpected places, and scents function like uniquely shaped keys, capable of opening long-locked doors, allowing forgotten feelings to step quietly back into present awareness. With surprising emotional intensity and clarity, a single smell can resurrect an entire world. Woody forgotten exists through the emotional texture of a moment preserved perfectly in scent, waiting patiently for the right chemical trigger to bring it flooding back into consciousness. Memory and scent intertwine in ways unique among our senses, creating bridges across time that feel almost magical in their immediacy and emotional power. The nose remembers what the mind forgets, storing experiences in a different format entirely, one that bypasses conscious recall and speaks directly to the emotional centers of the brain. Topic 9. Lucid dreams. Allow dream control in lucid dreams. You suddenly become aware you're dreaming, and with that awareness sometimes comes the remarkable ability to consciously shape the dream itself as it actively unfolds. People who experience lucid dreaming report flying effortlessly over mountains, breathing underwater without difficulty, or deliberately rewriting the narrative of their dream as events occur in real time. Psychologists believe lucid dreams emerge when specific brain regions linked to self-awareness and metacognition become active during sleep, even as the dream state continues. For some fortunate individuals, these conscious dreams happen naturally and spontaneously without any training. Others systematically train themselves through deliberate techniques, like reality checks performed throughout the day and keeping detailed dream journals. Research has even demonstrated that skills practiced deliberately within lucid dreams can measurably improve performance in waking life, as the brain treats the imagined practice as genuine experience and encodes it similarly to actual physical practice. But beyond any practical benefit, lucid dreaming offers something more profound, a direct reminder that our minds possess the capability to create entire worlds rich with sensory detail and genuine emotion that we can consciously navigate as if they were physically real. In those extraordinary moments, we become simultaneously the traveler and the architect, the observer and the creator. It's a glimpse into consciousness's remarkable flexibility, a direct experience of how much creative power the sleeping mind truly possesses when granted just a small degree of awareness. The boundary between imagination and experience dissolves completely, revealing the mind's extraordinary capacity to construct reality from pure thought, limited only by the constraints we unconsciously place on ourselves even while dreaming. Tópico 10. Incomplete tasks occupy mental space. Imagine working intently on a complex project, then stepping away before completing it, only to find the unfinished task persistently lingering in your thoughts throughout the day. Psychologists call this the Zeigarnik effect. Our brains maintain notably stronger hold on incomplete tasks than completed ones, keeping them active in working memory. This mental open loop evolved to help us remember what still requires attention and completion in environments where forgetting crucial tasks could prove dangerous. However, it can also keep us awake at night, replaying conversations or reminding us insistently of work left undone, creating a low-grade anxiety that prevents rest. Studies suggest the effect occurs because unresolved activities create a subtle form of mental tension, and finishing the task finally releases that accumulated psychological pressure. That is precisely why creating a simple to-do list can feel oddly calming and satisfying. It signals to your brain that the task has been accounted for and, whoa, you want to be forgotten, even though it's not yet actually completed. In daily life, this psychological effect can function as both motivator and stress source, depending entirely on how we choose to use and respond to it consciously. Either way, it is a powerful demonstration of the mind's unfinished business. How incomplete tasks create a kind of cognitive itch that demands scratching. Your brain essentially refuses to let go of open loops, holding them in active awareness until they're properly closed. This persistence can drive productivity effectively, but it can also steal peace when too many loops remain open simultaneously, creating mental clutter that prevents rest and genuine relaxation. Topico 11. Gratitude lowers stress hormones. Feeling and expressing genuine gratitude involves far more than polite social habit or pleasant temporary mood. It can actually shift your body's fundamental chemistry in measurable, scientifically documented ways. Studies have consistently found that individuals who regularly focus attention on things they are thankful for show significantly lower levels of cortisol, the primary hormone your body releases during stress responses. Gratitude practices such as maintaining a daily journal or quietly reflecting on positive moments before sleep can also measurably increase activity in brain regions strongly linked to empathy and joy. This isn't merely a pleasant mood change or temporary emotional lift that quickly fades. It's a genuine physiological response that can strengthen immune system function, improve sleep quality, and even support cardiovascular health over time. Psychologists suggest that gratitude fundamentally shifts attention away from what feels lacking and toward what exists abundantly in your life, creating an internal sense of safety and connection. In this way, gratitude helps the conscious mind relax, naturally allowing the physical body to follow into calmer states with reduced stress. Hormones. A grateful thought held quietly for just a moment can ripple through the entire nervous system like a calming tide, gently reducing activation and stress response pathways. The practice costs nothing, requires no special equipment or training, yet consistently produces measurable benefits across multiple body systems. Gratitude functions as accessible medicine, freely available whenever we remember to reach for it with sincere intention and awareness. It's a tool we all possess, but often forget to use, capable of shifting our entire physiological state through the simple act of recognizing what we already have. Topico 12. Subliminal messages influence behavior. Sometimes the mind reacts to messages it doesn't consciously notice or perceive. In psychology, this phenomenon is called subliminal priming, the presentation of stimuli, so brief or subtle that it falls below conscious awareness, yet still influences subsequent thoughts or behavior in measurable ways. In one fascinating study, flashing positive or negative words for mere milliseconds before showing participants a neutral image measurably changed how they rated that image as emotional tone, even though they had no conscious awareness of seeing the words. Advertisers and artists have long been fascinated by this effect, though its influence in real-world situations is considerably more subtle than popular myths suggest. Still, it reveals an important truth about consciousness and perception. Our conscious minds are not the sole gatekeepers of perception and response. Beneath awareness, the brain constantly scans, filters, and interprets countless signals flooding in from the environment every single moment. Most of these impressions never surface into words or conscious thought. They can subtly tilt our decisions quietly, shape our impressions of people and situations, and leave us with feelings we can't quite explain or justify rationally when asked. These are whispers from the edge of perception, messages processed by parts of the brain operating below the threshold of awareness, We like to imagine ourselves as rational beings, making conscious choices based on deliberate reasoning. But much of what influences us happens in shadows just beyond the reach of conscious attention. The mind responds to far more than we ever consciously perceive, processing information on multiple levels simultaneously, with only a fraction reaching conscious awareness. Tópico 13 music triggers decade-old memories. A song from your teenage years can pull you instantly backward through time to a school hallway, a summer afternoon, or a person you haven't spoken with in years, with startling vividness and emotional intensity. Music maintains a unique relationship with memory because it simultaneously engages multiple brain regions, auditory centers, motor areas, and crucially, the limbic system where emotions and memories intertwine. The rhythm, melody, and lyrics weave together, forming a rich contextual tapestry that encodes experiences more deeply than single sensory inputs. When that specific song plays again years later, the original emotions return with remarkable vividness and detail, often bringing back not just memories, but the actual feelings you experienced. For individuals suffering from Alzheimer's disease, familiar music can sometimes awaken unexpected moments of clarity, allowing them to sing along to lyrics they otherwise could unconsciously recall through any other prompt or intervention. Psychologists believe music functions as an extraordinarily powerful retrieval cue, one that bypasses some of the barriers of time and neurological damage typically created around stored memories. It serves as a reminder that even when memories feel permanently lost, they can still be carried within us, waiting patiently for the right musical note to set them free. Music doesn't just trigger memory, it can temporarily restore identity and connection when nearly everything else has faded. The soundtrack of our lives gets encoded so deeply that melodies can access what words cannot, unlocking doors that seemed permanently sealed by time or illness. Every song becomes a key to a specific moment in time, preserved perfectly in the brain's musical memory systems. Tópico 14. Optimism accelerates healing. Hope and positive expectation provide more than emotional comfort during illness. They can actually offer biological protection and measurably influence recovery outcomes. Studies have consistently shown that optimistic individuals often recover faster from surgical procedures, respond more favorably to certain treatments, and experience lower rates of various chronic illnesses. Optimism appears to reduce harmful stress responses that otherwise interfere with healing, encourage healthier behavioral choices, and even strengthen immune system functioning through reduced inflammation. This doesn't mean ignoring reality or forcing artificial smiles through genuine hardship and difficulty. Rather, it involves expecting that difficulties can ultimately be overcome, and that the future holds genuine possibility rather than inevitable decline. Psychologists suggest that optimism helps people persist more consistently with challenging rehabilitation protocols, follow medical advice more diligently, and maintain the mental resilience necessary for sustained healing. While the body performs its quiet work of cellular repair and tissue regeneration, the mind's outlook can genuinely tilt the odds in your favor, essentially turning hope into a form of invisible medicine that moves through every heartbeat and breath. The connection between mental state and physical healing isn't metaphorical or merely psychological, it's measurably biological. What you expect influences what your body achieves, creating feedback loops where belief shapes biological reality in tangible, observable ways. Optimism doesn't guarantee positive outcomes, but it consistently improves the statistical probability of better results across numerous health conditions. The mind becomes an ally in healing rather than an obstacle, working cooperatively with medical interventions rather than undermining them through stress and hopelessness. Tópico 15. Gossip sticks in memory. Human beings evolved in small social groups, where knowing who could be trusted could literally mean the difference between safety and mortal danger. This evolutionary pressure may explain why our brains are specifically tuned to remember gossip stories about others' behavior more readily and vividly than neutral facts or abstract information. In controlled experiments, research participants proved more likely to recall specific details about untrustworthy actions than about physical descriptions or unrelated events, presented with equal frequency. Gossip activates specialized social reasoning networks throughout the brain, drawing attention and helping store information for potential future use in social navigation. While gossip certainly can be harmful when false or malicious, spreading unfair judgments or destroying reputations, it also serves a protective social function, helping groups maintain behavioral norms and avoid potential risks from unreliable individuals. In modern contexts, this ancient tendency manifests in how rumors spread dramatically more quickly than ordinary news through social networks, both online and offline, whether whispered around fires thousands of years ago or passed along instantly through digital channels today. Gossip's staying power in memory lies in the brain's deep, persistent interest in understanding and predicting the behavior of others in our social environment. We're wired to pay attention to stories about people, because those stories once contained life or death information about who would help and who might harm us. The social brain prioritizes information about trust, betrayal, cooperation, and deception. Because these factors were crucial for survival in ancestral environments, gossip serves as social information that helps us navigate complex human relationships. Even when we're not consciously aware, that's why we remember it so vividly. Tópico 16. Dej, vu, from neural, misfearing, daderi, unsettling feeling that you've lived a specific moment. Before déjà vu remains not fully understood, despite decades of neuroscience research. One leading theory suggests it occurs when the brain's recognition system briefly misfires, creating a false sense of familiarity with a genuinely new experience unfolding in the present. This might happen when a current experience closely matches patterns from past memories stored in your brain, even if you cannot consciously recall the original moment that created those neural patterns. Neuroimaging studies suggest that the temporal lobe, especially areas heavily involved in memory processing, plays a significant role in generating this phenomenon. For most people, déjà vu remains fleeting and completely harmless, a brief glitch in perception that fades within seconds. But it offers a fascinating glimpse into how the brain constantly stitches together present experience and past memories into seamless consciousness. In that brief flicker of déjà vu, reality feels double the immediate now, overlaid with the ghost of a past that may never have actually been. It's a quiet reminder that perception is never a perfect recording of objective reality, but always an interpretation constructed by the brain. Sometimes the mind's storyteller gets ahead of itself, accessing the wrong file or mixing signals, and we experience the strange result of that momentary confusion, a feeling of impossible familiarity with the genuinely new. The experience reveals how fragile and constructed our sense of time and memory really is. How easily the brain can confuse past and present. Tópico 17. And nervousness. Accelerate speed. When anxiety rises suddenly, speech speed can increase noticeably along with it. This acceleration is partly driven by the body's ancient fight-or-flight response, which rapidly increases heart rate and breathing pace. The brain, primed for quick action by stress hormones flooding the system, pushes thoughts forward more rapidly, and the mouth struggles to keep pace with the accelerating mental stream. Nervous speakers may also skip natural pauses, rush through complete sentences, or stumble over words as adrenaline sharpens their urgent need to be understood and finish speaking. This effect can be said to la slight quickening of cadence or so pronounced that words blur together nearly incomprehensibly. In social situations, this rapid talking can sometimes make others feel anxious too, as emotional states ripple contagiously through groups via unconscious mimicry and empathy. Knowing this pattern exists can be genuinely helpful for managing it. Deliberately slowing speech can calm the body's stress response, and a calmer body in turn can steady the racing mind. In this way, speech becomes not merely a reflection of current mood, but actually a tool for actively guiding and regulating it. Your voice and breathing are connected to your nervous system in ways that allow conscious intervention by controlling the controllable output. You can influence the supposedly automatic internal state, pausing intentionally, taking breaths between sentences, and consciously moderating pace. All send calming signals back to the brain, creating a beneficial feedback loop that gradually reduces anxiety. Tópico 18. Much of the brain remains mystery. Despite all our remarkable advances in neuroscience and brain imaging technology, vast regions of the brain remain only partially understood. We can map anatomical structures, trace electrical signals, and observe patterns of neural activity lighting up on sophisticated scans. Yet the deeper mystery is how consciousness itself arises, why memories feel vivid and present, how subjective experience emerges from physical matter still largely escape our understanding. Some brain regions have no fully defined function even now, and the intricate networks linking different areas are more complex than any computer humans have yet built. Every new research study reveals not only answers, but entirely new questions, reminding us that we've explored merely a fraction of this living universe contained within our skulls. Like an ocean whose surface we've skimmed but whose depths remain dark and unexplored, the brain holds entire continents of understanding still waiting to be discovered. And in the quiet moments between thoughts, we're reminded that the mind is not just a biological machine we can fully map and understand. It's a profound mystery we inhabit every single waking moment, yet can never step outside to view objectively. We are the mystery, trying to understand its self-consciousness, examining consciousness, and attempting to see itself without a mirror. The more we discover, the more questions emerge, each answer revealing new horizons of ignorance. The brain remains humanity's final frontier, more mysterious than the depths of space. Topical 19. Most thoughts are recycled. Daily research consistently suggests that the vast majority of our daily thoughts are actually recycled from previous days' familiar concerns, established routines, and habitual reflections, replaying in slightly different forms and contexts. This mental repetition helps maintain a comforting sense of stability and continuity in our experience, but it can also significantly limit creativity and keep us stuck in old, unproductive patterns of thinking that no longer serve us. The brain naturally favors efficiency, and reusing existing neural pathways demands far less energy than forging entirely new ones through unfamiliar mental territory. However, when we intentionally seek out novel experiences, consciously challenge ingrained assumptions, or deliberately change our physical surroundings, we can spark fresh patterns of thought and new neural connections. This explains why travel, learning new skills, or even taking a different route to work can feel genuinely invigorating and mentally refreshing. It jolts the mind out of comfortable autopilot mode and into alert awareness of the present moment. Most of the time, our thoughts flow along well-worn mental trails, following the same patterns day after day. But every so often, we can consciously choose to step off the familiar path and discover an entirely new landscape. Hidden within ourselves, possibilities we didn't know existed because we never ventured into that mental territory before. Breaking thought patterns requires deliberate effort, but the rewards include increased creativity, fresh perspectives, and renewed mental energy. Topico 20. Yawning spreads across species. A single yawn can ripple through an entire room, passing from person to person with no words exchanged or conscious intention involved. This contagious effect isn't limited to humans alone. Chimpanzees, dogs, and even some bird species have been observed catching yawns from others in their social groups. Psychologists believe the phenomenon is linked to empathy and social bonding mechanisms deeply embedded in mammalian brains. We unconsciously mirror the behavior of those around us, reinforcing connection and group cohesion. In humans, the likelihood of catching a yawn increases significantly with closeness to the yawner. We're far more likely to yawn after a close friend than after a stranger. The act of yawning itself remains partially mysterious. While yawning helps regulate brain temperature and promote alertness, its social spread seems to serve a different purpose, silently synchronizing the rhythms of a group. In a way, a shared yawn is a quiet reminder of our biological link to one another, a small unspoken gesture that communicates we're in this moment together. It's a primitive form of nonverbal communication that predates language, connecting us to others through involuntary mimicry. Even across species boundaries, yawning creates moments of synchronization, suggesting deep evolutionary roots to this curious behavior. Your dog yawns when you do not, because it's tired, but because its social brain is wired to mirror and connect with yours, strengthening the bond between different species through this ancient shared behavior. Tópico 21. Hypnosis alters pain processing. Under hypnosis, a person can sometimes feel significantly less pain, or even none at all, during experiences that would normally cause considerable discomfort. Brain scans reveal that hypnosis can measurably alter activity in regions that interpret pain signals, changing not the sensation itself arriving from the body, but the way the brain perceives and responds to it. This has been successfully used in medical settings for pain management, dental procedures, and even some surgical interventions, though it doesn't work equally effectively for everyone. Psychologists describe hypnosis as a focused, highly suggestible state in which the mind can systematically shift its responses to physical sensations. The effect isn't magic or mystical power. It's the brain's own remarkable flexibility at work, demonstrating how consciousness can modulate physical experience. By adjusting perception through focused attention and suggestion, the mind can literally rewrite the body's experience of potentially painful stimuli. This connection between attention and sensation hints at a profound truth about pain itself. Pain is not just a simple physical event transmitted from body to brain, but rather a complex dialogue between nerves, brain structures, and conscious awareness, and sometimes awareness itself can fundamentally change the nature of that conversation. Hypnosis reveals how much of pain is interpretation rather than pure sensation, and how that interpretation can be consciously modified through specific mental states. The boundary between physical sensation and mental experience proves far more permeable than we typically imagine. Topiko, 22. Writing about feelings improves health. Putting emotions into words, whether in a private journal or a note you'll never share, can have measurable effects on well-being that extend far beyond simple emotional relief. Studies have consistently shown that expressive writing can lower blood pressure, strengthen immune function, and improve mood in measurable ways. Psychologists believe the process helps organize emotional experiences. Turning vague feelings into structured thoughts, the brain can work through more effectively. This reduces mental strain and frees up cognitive resources for other tasks requiring attention and energy. Writing doesn't require a perfect grammar or literary style. Its therapeutic power lies primarily in honesty and emotional authenticity. By translating inner experiences into language, we give concrete form to what was formless, and in doing so, reduce its psychological hold over us. The page becomes a safe container for what might feel overwhelming when it remains trapped solely in the mind. Over time, this practice can help untangle complex emotions, making them easier to understand, process, and ultimately carry with less suffering. The act of writing creates distance between the self and the emotion, allowing observation rather than pure immersion. Words on a page can be examined, questioned, and reconsidered in ways that swirling thoughts cannot. The externalization of internal experience through writing provides perspective that's difficult to achieve through thought alone, and that perspective itself becomes healing. Tópico 16. Dej, vu, from neural, misfearing, daderi, unsettling feeling that you've lived a specific moment before déjà vu remains not fully understood. Despite decades of neuroscience research, one leading theory suggests it occurs when the brain's recognition system briefly misfires, creating a false sense of familiarity with a genuinely new experience unfolding in the present. This might happen when a current experience closely matches patterns from past memories stored in your brain, even if you cannot consciously recall the original moment that created those neural patterns. Neuroimaging studies suggest that the temporal lobe, especially areas heavily involved in memory processing, plays a significant role in generating this phenomenon. For most people, déjà vu remains fleeting and completely harmless, a brief glitch in perception that fades within seconds. But it offers a fascinating glimpse into how the brain constantly stitches together present experience and past memories into seamless consciousness. In that brief flicker of déjà vu, reality feels double the immediate now, overlaid with the ghost of a past that may never have actually been. It's a quiet reminder that perception is never a perfect recording of objective reality, but always an interpretation constructed by the brain. Sometimes the mind's storyteller gets ahead of itself, accessing the wrong file or mixing signals, and we experience the strange result of that momentary confusion, a feeling of impossible familiarity with the genuinely new. The experience reveals how fragile and constructed our sense of time and memory really is. How easily the brain can confuse past and present. Tópico 17. And nervousness. Accelerate speed. When anxiety rises suddenly, speech speed can increase noticeably along with it. This acceleration is partly driven by the body's ancient fight-or-flight response, which rapidly increases heart rate and breathing pace. The brain, primed for quick action by stress hormones flooding the system, pushes thoughts forward more rapidly, and the mouth struggles to keep pace with the accelerating mental stream. Nervous speakers may also skip natural pauses, rush through complete sentences, or stumble over words as adrenaline sharpens their urgent need to be understood and finish speaking. This effect can be said to la slight quickening of cadence, or so pronounced that words blur together nearly incomprehensibly. In social situations, this rapid talking can sometimes make others feel anxious too, as emotional states ripple contagiously through groups via unconscious mimicry and empathy. Knowing this pattern exists can be genuinely helpful for managing it. Deliberately slowing speech can calm the body's stress response, and a calmer body in turn can steady the racing mind. In this way, speech becomes not merely a reflection of current mood, but actually a tool for actively guiding and regulating it. Your voice and breathing are connected to your nervous system in ways that allow conscious intervention by controlling the controllable output. You can influence the supposedly automatic internal state, pausing intentionally, taking breaths between sentences and consciously moderating pace. All send calming signals back to the brain, creating a beneficial feedback loop that gradually reduces anxiety. Topico 18. Much of the brain remains mystery. Despite all our remarkable advances in neuroscience and brain imaging technology, vast regions of the brain remain only partially understood. We can map anatomical structures, trace electrical signals, and observe patterns of neural activity lighting up on sophisticated scans. Yet the deeper mysteries how consciousness itself arises, why memories feel vivid and present, how subjective experience emerges from physical matter still largely escape our understanding. Some brain regions have no fully defined function even now, and the intricate networks linking different areas are more complex than any computer humans have yet built. Every new research study reveals not only answers, but entirely new questions, reminding us that we've explored merely a fraction of this living universe contained within our skulls. Like an ocean whose surface we've skimmed but whose depths remain dark and unexplored, the brain holds entire continents of understanding still waiting to be discovered. And in the quiet moments between thoughts, we're reminded that the mind is not just a biological machine we can fully map and understand. It's a profound mystery we inhabit every single waking moment, yet can never step outside to view objectively. We are the mystery, trying to understand its self-consciousness, examining consciousness, and attempting to see itself without a mirror. The more we discover, the more questions emerge, each answer revealing new horizons of ignorance. The brain remains humanity's final frontier, more mysterious than the depths of space. Topico 19. Most thoughts are recycled. Daily research consistently suggests that the vast majority of our daily thoughts are actually recycled from previous days' familiar concerns, established routines, and habitual reflections, replaying in slightly different forms and contexts. This mental repetition helps maintain a comforting sense of stability and continuity in our experience, but it can also significantly limit creativity and keep us stuck in old, unproductive patterns of thinking that no longer serve us. The brain naturally favors efficiency, and reusing existing neural pathways demands far less energy than forging entirely new ones through unfamiliar mental territory. However, when we intentionally seek out novel experiences, consciously challenge ingrained assumptions, or deliberately change our physical surroundings, we can spark fresh patterns of thought and new neural connections. This explains why travel, learning new skills, or even taking a different route to work can feel genuinely invigorating and mentally refreshing. It jolts the mind out of comfortable autopilot mode and into alert awareness of the present moment. Most of the time, our thoughts flow along well-worn mental trails, following the same patterns day after day. But every so often, we can consciously choose to step off the familiar path and discover an entirely new landscape. Hidden within ourselves possibilities we didn't know existed because we never ventured into that mental territory before. Breaking thought patterns requires deliberate effort, but the rewards include increased creativity, fresh perspectives, and renewed mental energy. Topico 20. Yawning spreads across species. A single yawn can ripple through an entire room, passing from person to person with no words exchanged or conscious intention involved. This contagious effect isn't limited to humans alone. Chimpanzees, dogs, and even some bird species have been observed catching yawns from others in their social groups. Psychologists believe the phenomenon is linked to empathy and social bonding mechanisms deeply embedded in mammalian brains. We unconsciously mirror the behavior of those around us, reinforcing connection and group cohesion. In humans, the likelihood of catching a yawn increases significantly with closeness to the yawner. We're far more likely to yawn after a close friend than after a stranger. The act of yawning itself remains partially mysterious. While yawning helps regulate brain temperature and promote alertness, its social spread seems to serve a different purpose silently, synchronizing the rhythms of a group. In a way, a shared yawn is a quiet reminder of our biological link to one another. A small unspoken gesture that communicates, we're in this moment together. It's a primitive form of nonverbal communication that predates language, connecting us to others through involuntary mimicry. Even across species boundaries, yawning creates moments of synchronization, suggesting deep evolutionary roots to this curious behavior. Your dog yawns when you do not, because it's tired, but because its social brain is wired to mirror and connect with yours, strengthening the bond between different species through this ancient shared behavior. Tópico 21. Hypnosis alters pain processing. Under hypnosis, a person can sometimes feel significantly less pain, or even none at all, during experiences that would normally cause considerable discomfort. Brain scans reveal that hypnosis can measurably alter activity in regions that interpret pain signals, changing not the sensation itself arriving from the body, but the way the brain perceives and responds to it. This has been successfully used in medical settings for pain management, dental procedures, and even some surgical interventions, though it doesn't work equally effectively for everyone. Psychologists describe hypnosis as a focused, highly suggestible state in which the mind can systematically shift its responses to physical sensations. The effect isn't magic or mystical power. It's the brain's own remarkable flexibility at work, demonstrating how consciousness can modulate physical experience. By adjusting perception through focused attention and suggestion, the mind can literally rewrite the body's experience of potentially painful stimuli. This connection between attention and sensation hints at a profound truth about pain itself. Pain is not just a simple physical event transmitted from body to brain, but rather a complex dialogue between nerves, brain structures, and conscious awareness. And sometimes awareness itself can fundamentally change the nature of that conversation. Hypnosis reveals how much of pain is interpretation rather than pure sensation, and how that interpretation can be consciously modified through specific mental states. The boundary between physical sensation and mental experience proves far more permeable than we typically imagine. Tópico 22. Writing about feelings improves health. Putting emotions into words, whether in a private journal or a note you'll never share, can have measurable effects on well-being that extend far beyond simple emotional relief. Studies have consistently shown that expressive writing can lower blood pressure, strengthen immune function, and improve mood in measurable ways. Psychologists believe the process helps organize emotional experiences. Turning vague feelings into structured thoughts, the brain can work through more effectively. This reduces mental strain and frees up cognitive resources for other tasks requiring attention and energy. Writing doesn't require a perfect grammar or literary style. Its therapeutic power lies primarily in honesty and emotional authenticity. By translating inner experiences into language, we give concrete form to what was formless, and in doing so, reduce its psychological hold over us. The page becomes a safe container for what might feel overwhelming when it remains trapped solely in the mind. Over time, this practice can help untangle complex emotions, making them easier to understand, process, and ultimately carry with less suffering. The act of writing creates distance between the self and the emotion, allowing observation rather than pure immersion. Words on a page can be examined, questioned, and reconsidered in ways that swirling thoughts cannot. The externalization of internal experience through writing provides perspective that's difficult to achieve through thought alone, and that perspective itself becomes healing. Tópico 23. Feelings remembered better than facts. The human mind is deeply emotional by design, and this shapes how we remember experiences. Events tied to strong emotions, joy, fear, grief, or excitement tend to linger in memory considerably longer than neutral details or factual information. This emotional tagging helps the brain prioritize important experiences for long-term storage, but it also means we often remember how we felt more clearly and vividly than what actually happened in objective terms. In eyewitness testimony, for example, the emotional charge of an event can significantly influence recollections, sometimes distorting factual accuracy. On the positive side, remembering the emotions of meaningful moments can help reinforce values, strengthen relationships, and preserve important life lessons. Our memories are not perfect objective records of what happened. They're more like stories told from the heart's perspective, colored by emotion. When we think back on the past, we often walk through a landscape of feelings with facts scattered like stones along the path. Occasional markers of what happened, but not the primary substance of memory itself. This is why two people can share an experience, yet remember it quite differently. They re-remembering different emotional narratives rather than different objective facts. The feeling becomes the memory, while the details fade into background. Understanding this can help us appreciate why memories differ and why emotional truth sometimes matters more than factual precision in human relationships. Tópico 24. Chewing gum improves concentration. It might seem like a small, even mindless habit, but chewing gum has been linked to improvements in focus and alertness in multiple research studies. The rhythmic motion appears to increase blood flow to the brain, while the act of chewing may also stimulate specific areas involved in attention and memory processing. Some studies show modest but measurable boosts in performance on tasks requiring sustained concentration when participants chew gum, especially peppermint-flavored varieties. The effect isn't dramatic or transformative, but it can provide a subtle lift in mental energy during demanding periods. Perhaps this explains why students, drivers, and even soldiers have used it during long demanding periods requiring sustained attention. Psychologists also suggest that gum chewing can reduce stress by lowering cortisol levels, making it a double benefit for concentration, both increasing alertness and reducing anxiety. In the quiet moments when focus begins to drift and attention wanders, this simple action can act as a small anchor, bringing the mind gently back to the task at hand. The repetitive motion provides just enough stimulation to keep the brain engaged without becoming distracting. It's a remarkably accessible tool for maintaining attention, requiring no special equipment or training, just a simple piece of gum. The mechanism likely involves multiple factors working together: increased cerebral blood flow, reduced stress hormones, and the mild stimulation of rhythmic jaw movement, all contributing to improved cognitive function. Topico 25. First and last items stick strongest. Our memories are influenced by what psychologists call the primacy and recency effects, the tendency to recall the first and last items in a sequence better than those in the middle. The first items benefit from more rehearsal and attention, while the last items remain fresh in short-term memory when recall is tested. This pattern appears consistently in daily life. We often remember the opening and closing moments of a conversation, a lecture, or even a vacation more vividly than the middle portions, which tend to blur together. Understanding this can help in learning and communication. Placing key information at the beginning or end of a study session or presentation increases the chance of it sticking in memory. In a way, the mind frames experiences like stories, with the opening and ending scenes shining the brightest. The middle still matters and contains substance, but it is the first impression and the final moment that often linger longest in the mind's quiet archives. This is why speakers are taught to craft strong openings and closings. These are what audiences will remember most clearly. The principle applies to everything from advertising to relationships. First impressions and last impressions disproportionately shape overall memory and judgment. The middle gets compressed and summarized, while the beginning and end remain distinct and accessible, guiding our overall evaluation of the entire experience. Topico 26. Change blindness occurs frequently. Change blindness is a striking quirk of perception that reveals how selective our attention truly is. The brain can fail to notice even large alterations in a scene if they occur during a brief distraction or visual interruption, revealing the constructed nature of perception. In experiments, people can look directly at an object, glance away for a moment, and miss that it has changed entirely when they look back. This happens because attention is fundamentally selective. We can't process every detail simultaneously, so the brain fills in gaps with assumptions based on prior knowledge and expectations. In daily life, change blindness can explain why we miss small rearrangements in a familiar room or fail to notice a friend's new haircut. It's a reminder that perception is not a perfect camera faithfully recording everything. Instead, it is a patchwork of focused details and inferred continuities stitched together so smoothly we rarely notice the missing pieces unless someone explicitly points them out. The brain prioritizes efficiency over completeness, creating a coherent experience from limited information. We see far less than we think we do, with consciousness filling in the rest based on expectation rather than actual sensory input. This reveals both the efficiency and the limitations of human perception. We navigate the world successfully, despite seeing only a fraction of what is actually there, our brains seamlessly constructing the rest. Topico 27. Smiling tricks the brain into happiness, even if you're not feeling genuinely joyful. The simple act of smiling can subtly shift your mood in a more positive direction. Psychologists call this the facial feedback hypothesis, the idea that facial expressions can influence emotional states rather than merely reflecting them. When you smile, the muscles in your face send signals to your brain, triggering the release of neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin associated with positive emotions. This can create a small lift in mood, even if nothing in your external circumstances has changed. The effect works in reverse too. Frowning or scowling can can reinforce feelings of tension or frustration, creating a negative feedback loop. It's not a cure-all for serious depression or anxiety, but in moments of mild stress, a conscious smile can be a gentle nudge toward a calmer state. This is why some people practice soft smiling during meditation or relaxed, almost imperceptible upturn of the lips that signals safety and contentment to the nervous system. It's a reminder that the mind and body are deeply intertwined, constantly communicating through multiple channels. Sometimes the body can speak first, leading the mind rather than following it. A smile becomes a tool for emotional regulation, a simple physical action that can shift internal chemistry and perception. The face doesn't just express emotion, it helps create it through direct neurological feedback. Topico 28. Subconscious influences attraction. Attraction feels like a conscious choice, but many of its foundations are laid beneath awareness and brain regions we cannot directly access. Subtle custa symmetry of a face, the tone of a voice, even a person's natural scent can trigger responses rooted in biology and accumulated experience. Evolutionary psychologists suggest that some preferences may be linked to health indicators like facial symmetry, while others are shaped by cultural norms and personal history. The subconscious also weaves in associations from past experiences. A certain laugh may remind you of someone kind from your childhood. A hairstyle may echo a beloved figure from your past. These impressions often form before the conscious mind begins its analytical evaluation, creating a feeling of instant chemistry or immediate aversion that seems to come from nowhere. It is a reminder that attraction is both ancient and deeply personal, a dance between instincts honed over millennia and the unique pathways carved by our own individual lives, quietly guiding our eyes and hearts before we even realize they've chosen a direction. These subconscious processes shape romantic choices in ways we rarely acknowledge or understand. We tell ourselves stories about why we're attracted to someone, but often those are post hoc rationalizations for decisions already made by neural systems operating below conscious awareness, evaluating compatibility according to criteria we cannot articulate. Tópico 29. Flow states make time disappear. A flow state is a mental space where focus becomes effortless. Time feels elastic, and the outside world fades into a artists, athletes, and scientists often describe losing themselves completely in their work, emerging hours later, feeling energized, rather than drained by the experience. Psychologists say flow occurs when the challenge of a task matches your skill level perfectly enough. Difficulty to engage fully, but not so much as to overwhelm and create anxiety. In T states, the brain reduces activity in the prefrontal cortex, the region tied to self-consciousness and internal monitoring, freeing attention to merge completely with the task. Flow is not just productivity at its peak. It's a deeply satisfying immersion where action and awareness become one unified experience. Many people find it during hobbies, creative projects, or even problem-solving at work when conditions align properly. In the quiet trance of flow, minutes dissolve into moments, and the mind moves as smoothly as a river finding its way to the sea. Hours pass like minutes, yet the person in flow accomplishes more than they would in much longer periods of regular focused work. The experience itself becomes rewarding beyond any external outcome, creating intrinsic motivation that sustains effort without need for external rewards. Flow represents consciousness at its most efficient and enjoyable, the optimal state of human performance and experience. Tópico 30. Technology can create new senses. Technology can extend human perception beyond its natural limits, effectively giving us entirely new senses our ancestors never possessed. Some researchers have created devices that translate non-visual data, like magnetic fields or ultrasonic distances, into tactile signals the brain can learn to interpret over time. Over weeks and months of use, users begin to sense these signals as naturally as sight or touch, integrating them seamlessly into daily awareness and navigation. For example, a belt that vibrates when facing north can eventually give a person an intuitive sense of direction, much like migratory animals possess. These enhancements demonstrate the brain's remarkable neuroplasticity, its ability to adapt to entirely new streams of information and weave them into existing perceptual frameworks. While these tools remain largely experimental currently, they point toward a future where human senses could expand dramatically. We might detect ultraviolet light like bees, sense infrared heat like snakes, or even perceive the chemical composition of air opening entire dimensions of experience we can only imagine now with our limited natural senses. The technology essentially creates new sensory channels that the brain learns to process and integrate, expanding consciousness beyond its biological limitations. We're not limited to the five senses. Evolution-provided technology allows us to augment perception itself, becoming more than merely human in our sensory capabilities. Tópico 31. Learning physically reshapes the brain each time you learn a new skill or concept. Your brain's neural networks undergo physical changes that can be measured and observed. This process, called synaptic plasticity, strengthens existing connections and forms entirely new ones, allowing information to be stored and retrieved more efficiently over time. In practical terms, this means that your brain is not a static organ with fixed capabilities. It's an ever-changing structure actively shaped by your experiences, choices, and what you practice. MRI studies showed that learning activities from playing an instrument to practicing a language can even increase the measurable size of certain brain regions over time. These physical changes are most rapid in childhood when the brain is maximally plastic, but they continue throughout life, proving conclusively that it's never too late to learn. The act of learning is like walking through a field until a faint trail becomes a well-worn path. Every time you return to practice a skill or revisit information, the path grows clearer and easier to follow, and the landscape of your mind expands incrementally, one connection at a time. You are literally sculpting your own brain through the choices you make about what to practice and learn. Neural networks that get used regularly grow stronger and more efficient, while those left unused gradually weaken and fade. This is both encouraging and sobering. We have more control over our mental capabilities than we might think, but that control requires consistent effort and practice. Tópico 32. And mood changes what you see. Emotions don't just color our thoughts, they can literally alter visual perception in measurable ways. Studies have shown that people in a positive mood are more likely to notice subtle details and perceive a wider range of colors, while those feeling anxious may narrow their focus dramatically, scanning primarily for threats and missing neutral or positive cues. This happens because mood influences the brain's attention systems, adjusting the way sensory information is filtered and interpreted before it reaches conscious awareness. A joyful state can make a sunset seem more vivid and beautiful, while fear can make a dimly lit street feel darker and more menacing than it objectively is. In this way, perception is not a purely objective process faithfully recording external reality. It's actively shaped by the lens of the mind in each moment, colored by emotional state. Changing your mood can quite literally change your visible world, revealing that the line between the mind's inner state and the outer environment is far less fixed than we imagine. Two people can look at the same scene and see genuinely different things based on their emotional state. The optimist and the pessimist, do you want to just interpret the same information differently? Te actua. Perceive different information to begin with, as their emotional states filter reality in fundamentally different ways before conscious processing even begins. Tópico 33. Bystander effect reduces helping in emergencies. The presence of other people can sometimes paradoxically reduce the likelihood that anyone will step in to help, a phenomenon known as the bystander effect. When alone, individuals feel greater personal responsibility to act decisively. When in a crowd, responsibility becomes diffused, and each person unconsciously assumes someone else will help. This effect has been observed in countless experiments and real-world situations, from staged accidents to dropped objects on the street. The more people present, the lower the statistical chance that any one person will intervene, as responsibility gets divided among all observers. However, awareness of the bystander effect can actually counteract it effectively. Those who understand this psychological principle are more likely to take action regardless of the crowd, recognizing the trap of diffused responsibility. It's a reminder that in moments where help is genuinely needed, looking to others can become a trap that prevents action. Sometimes the person to act must simply be you, even if you are the only one to notice the need. The effect teaches us that moral action sometimes requires going against powerful social instincts. The presence of others shouldn't be an excuse for inaction if anything. Understanding the bystander effect should make us more vigilant and more willing to be the first to help when we witness someone in distress or danger. Tópico 34. Stress smell affects others. When a person is stressed, their body can release chemical compounds through sweat that carry subtle signals detectable by those nearby. Research has found that smelling these stress odors, even without conscious awareness of detecting any scent, can activate areas of the brain linked to empathy and fear, causing others to become more alert or anxious themselves. This suggests that stress can spread socially not just through visible body language, tone of voice or facial expressions, but through invisible chemical signals carried in the air. While this effect likely evolved to help groups detect and respond collectively to danger, in modern life it means that tension in a room can quietly ripple from one person to the next. Understanding this can be genuinely empowering. Just as stress can be contagious through chemical signaling, so can calm. By managing our own state, we may influence the emotional climate around us in ways no one can consciously explain, but everyone can somehow feel. The body broadcasts our internal state through multiple channels, simultaneously visual, auditory, and chemical. We're constantly sending and receiving emotional signals beneath conscious awareness, creating a web of unconscious emotional contagion that shapes group dynamics. This invisible communication affects workplace dynamics, family interactions, and any situation where people share space. Your stress doesn't stay private, it becomes part of the shared atmospheric environment affecting everyone present. Tópico 35. Nostalgia creates physical warmth. Nostalgia isn't only a warm feeling in the heart, it can literally make you feel warmer in your physical body. Experiments have shown that recalling cherished memories can measurably increase perceived temperature and even reduce the sensation of physical cold. Psychologists believe this link may be rooted in evolutionary needs and the deep connection between social warmth and physical warmth in the brain. Both are processed in overlapping neural networks, both tied to feelings of safety and belonging. When we revisit happy moments from the past, our bodies respond as if we've stepped into a more comfortable, secure environment. In winter months, people often experience more nostalgic thoughts, perhaps as an unconscious way of counteracting the physical chill through psychological warmth. Whether triggered by a familiar song, a photograph, or the smell of a favorite meal, nostalgia can wrap the mind and body in a gentle blanket of remembered comfort. The effect demonstrates how permeable the boundary between psychological and physical experience truly is. A memory which is just neural activity can influence thermoregulation and bodily comfort. The past reaches forward into the present, not just mentally, but physically, changing how the body feels right now. Nostalgia serves as a psychological resource during difficult times, providing not just emotional comfort, but actual physical warmth that makes challenging circumstances feel more bearable. Tópico 36. Fear transmits through observation. You don't have to experience a threat firsthand to develop fear of it. Simply watching someone else react with fear can trigger your own fear response through mirror neuron systems. This is because the brain contains sophisticated neural networks that automatically simulate others' emotions, allowing us to learn about dangers indirectly through observation. In studies, people who observed someone else showing signs of fear toward a specific object later showed similar fear responses themselves, even without any direct exposure to a threatening experience. This mechanism likely evolved to help us avoid harm by learning efficiently from the experiences of others, rather than needing to encounter every danger personally. In daily life, it means that fear can ripple through groups in seconds, influencing behavior before words are even spoken. Just as calm can be contagious, so too can alarm, making emotional awareness a powerful tool in shaping the collective mood of those around us. This social transmission of fear explains how phobias can sometimes develop without direct trauma, simply through witnessing others' reactions. A child who sees a parent react with terror to spiders may develop the same fear without ever having a negative spider encounter. The evolutionary advantage is clear. Learning about dangers from others is far safer than learning through personal harmful experience. But in modern life, this mechanism can also transmit unnecessary fears and anxieties that don't reflect actual danger. Tópico 37. Authority overrides personal morals in the 1960s. Psychologist Stanley Milgram conducted experiments showing that ordinary people under the direction of an authority figure would deliver what they believed were painful electric shocks to others, far beyond what their personal morals would normally allow. The study revealed how social pressure and the presence of authority can override personal morals, leading people to act in ways they might never choose independently. While controversial, the findings have been echoed in other contexts, from military settings to workplace hierarchies to institutional abuse. The effect is rooted in our tendency to trust perceived experts and defer responsibility when following orders from those we view as legitimate authorities. This doesn't mean people are powerless against authority. Awareness of the influence can strengthen resistance. It's a reminder that moral courage sometimes means stepping out of the shadow of authority, reclaiming personal choice, even when every voice around you says, "Just do as you're told." The experiments teach us that ordinary people can do terrible things when responsibility is diffused through hierarchical structures. Understanding this phenomenon is crucial for preventing institutional abuse and maintaining individual moral responsibility. We must remain vigilant about our own capacity to surrender moral judgment to authority figures, recognizing that following orders doesn't absolve us of ethical responsibility for our actions. Topico 38. Peripheral vision detects motion. Fastest your eyes are most detailed in the center of your visual field, but they're fastest at detecting motion at the edges. Peripheral vision is specifically attuned to movement, a survival trait from when noticing a sudden rustle could mean spotting a predator or prey before it was too late. This sensitivity is tied to the rod cells in the outer retina, which are better at picking up light and motion in low contrast conditions than the cone cells concentrated in the center. In modern life, this means you might notice something moving in the corner of your eye before you consciously look at it directly. It's part of the brain's early warning system, constantly scanning for change, ready to draw your focus where it's needed most urgently. In the quiet margins of your sight, the ancient past lingers on. Evolutionary watchtower, still keeping faithful guard. This is why horror films often use peripheral movement to create uneasy. It triggers our ancient alarm systems before a conscious thought can rationalize the stimulus. The peripheral detection happens so fast that the fear response begins before we've even identified what moved. Athletes and drivers rely heavily on peripheral motion detection for quick reactions. The system operates largely beneath conscious awareness, automatically directing attention toward anything that moves unexpectedly in the visual field, helping us respond to threats or opportunities with minimal delay. Topico 39. Handwriting improves memory retention. Handwriting engages the brain differently from typing, involving fine motor skills, visual processing, and spatial awareness, all simultaneously. This richer, more complex sensory experience helps encode information more deeply, making it significantly easier to recall later. Students who take handwritten notes often remember concepts better, even if they write less overall, because summarizing in real time requires active engagement with the material rather than passive transcription. Writing by hand also naturally slows the pace, giving the mind more time to process ideas as they're being recorded. While typing is fast and efficient for capturing large amounts of information quickly, handwriting can act like a form of mindful learning. Each stroke creates a physical imprint of thought etched not just on paper but into the neural patterns of memory through the motor cortex. The slower pace forces selection and summarization rather than verbatim recording. This act of processing during writing creates stronger memory traces than passive typing. The hand and brain work together to construct meaning, creating a more embodied form of learning. Research consistently shows better long-term retention for handwritten versus typed notes, suggesting that sometimes slower is actually more effective for learning. The physical act of writing becomes part of how the memory is stored, creating multiple retrieval pathways through motor, visual, and conceptual connections. Topico 40. Facial feedback influences emotion even without genuine joy. Forming a smile can nudge your brain toward a lighter mood. This is because facial muscles send continuous feedback signals to the brain, directly influencing emotional processing centers. Studies show that people holding a pen between their teeth to force a smile report more amusement when viewing cartoons compared to those who frown. The effect isn't about pretending to be happy or forcing false positivity. It is about creating a small physical cue that the brain interprets as a genuine sign of safety and positivity. Over time, this gentle feedback loop can become a quiet but effective tool for shifting perspective, especially in moments when the day feels heavy. The mechanism works through the facial nerve, which connects to emotion centers in the brain. The physical expression literally influences the emotion rather than just reflecting it. This bidirectional relationship means we can work from either end. Changing emotions changes expressions, but changing expressions can also shift emotions. This principle has practical applications for mood regulation. During stressful moments, consciously relaxing facial muscles and adopting a slight smile can send calming signals to the brain, reducing stress hormone release. The face becomes a control panel for emotional state, offering a simple physical intervention point. The body influences the mind as much as the mind influences the body, creating feedback loops we can consciously exploit for better emotional regulation. Topic 41. Snap judgments form instantly. The human brain forms impressions of faces almost instantly in less than 1/10 of a second. Research shows that even such brief exposure is enough for people to decide whether someone appears trustworthy, competent, or likable, often with surprising consistency across different observers. These snap judgments come from ancient survival mechanisms, where quickly assessing friend or foe could mean the difference between life and death. The amygdala and other brain regions processed facial cues at remarkable speed, well before conscious thought has time to intervene or analyze. While first impressions can be surprisingly consistent across observers, they aren't always accurate. Our minds often lean heavily on learned stereotypes and personal experiences to fill in gaps, creating judgments that may be confident but flawed. This lightning-fast assessment is a reminder that part of us still operates on instincts formed long before cities, screens, and formal introductions. When a single glance could shape the immediate course of survival, the speed is remarkable, but also problematic, as it means biases can activate before conscious reasoning has any chance to intervene. Understanding this can make us more aware of our own snap judgments and more forgiving of others' initial reactions to us. First impressions are powerful, but not destiny there, just the brain's quick initial guess, which can be revised with more information and conscious effort. Topic 42. Image of eyes increases honesty. Simply placing an image of eyes in a space above a donation box, for example, can make people behave more generously and honestly. Psychologists believe this happens because the sensation of being watched triggers social accountability, even when the eyes are only printed on paper and no actual surveillance exists. This effect is linked to our evolutionary past, when reputation and group belonging were essential for survival. Being seen meant your actions mattered to the group, and the brain still responds powerfully to these subtle cues today, even when conscious reasoning knows the eyes aren't real. Interestingly, the eyes don't need to be realistic or human. Even highly stylized designs can create the effect, suggesting it's triggered by basic visual patterns rather than conscious recognition. It's a quiet example of how deep-seated social instincts continue to shape behavior in ways we rarely notice or acknowledge. The mere suggestion of observation changes behavior, turning a simple image into an invisible reminder that someone might be watching. This has practical applications in reducing theft, increasing charitable donations, and encouraging honest behavior in unsupervised settings. The effect demonstrates how social we are at our core even. The possibility of being observed activates moral behavior, revealing that much of ethics is socially enforced rather than purely internal. Topic 43. Spotlight effect overestimates attention. The spotlight effect describes our tendency to believe others are paying more attention to us than they actually are. This can make small mistakes tripping on a sidewalk, mispronouncing a word feel far more noticeable and embarrassing than they are in reality. In truth, most people are too focused on their own thoughts, concerns, and self-monitoring to observe us closely. This bias stems from the way we experience life. We're the central figure in our own story, so we unconsciously assume the same focus from others who are actually centered in their own narratives. Understanding the spotlight effect can be genuinely freeing, reducing social anxiety and self-consciousness significantly. When we realize that most eyes are turned inward toward their own concerns, our own small stumbles lose their weight, and we can move through the world with a lighter step. We're no longer imagining an audience where none exists, no longer performing for observers who aren't actually watching. This realization can be initially deflating. We're not as noticed as we thought, but ultimately liberating, as it removes the constant pressure of imagined judgment. The effect reveals how self-centered human attention truly is. We're all so focused on ourselves that we barely notice each other's minor mistakes, yet we're convinced everyone notices ours. It's a collective delusion that creates unnecessary anxiety. Topic 44. Open-label placebos still work. It sounds impossible, but studies show that a placebo and an active treatment with no pharmacological effect can still produce real effects, even when the recipient knows it's not real medicine. In these cases, the explanation that the placebo might trigger the body's own healing mechanisms is often enough to create measurable changes. Reduced pain, improved mood, and other benefits can occur, even with full knowledge that the treatment contains no active ingredients. Psychologists suggest this works through expectation and conditioning. The ritual of treatment, combined with belief in the body's capacity to heal, activates neural pathways that influence physical states. This open-label placebo effect reveals just how intertwined mind and body truly are, and how belief can shape biology, even in the absence of deception. It's a reminder that sometimes awareness itself can be a form of medicine, that the ritual and context of healing matters as much as the specific intervention. The placebo effect isn't about being fooled. It's about harnessing the mind's genuine power to influence physical systems through expectation and conditioning. Medical rituals activate healing responses that go beyond the direct effects of drugs or procedures. Understanding this doesn't diminish the effect. It actually empowers us to use it more consciously. The mind's healing capacity is real and can be accessed deliberately through proper framing and ritual, even without deception. Topico 45. Emotional memory stronger than factual. Think back to a significant moment in your life. You might remember the rush of joy, the weight of grief, or the sting of embarrassment with perfect clarity, but not the exact sequence of events or specific details. This is because emotions are processed and stored in brain areas closely linked to memory, such as the amygdala. Emotional encoding makes feelings easier to retrieve than factual details. While this emotional focus can help guide future decisions based on past experiences, it can also blur the accuracy of our recollections significantly. We may recall the emotional feel of a day vividly, but lose track of the objective specifics entirely. This is why two people can share an experience, yet remember it quite differently. They're re-remembering different emotional narratives rather than different objective facts. In the story of our lives, emotion is often the ink, and the details are merely the paper. Without the feeling, the memory fades quickly and completely. But with it, even vague outlines can remain vivid for decades. This emotional prioritization makes sense. Evolutionarily, remembering how situations made us feel helps predict future emotional outcomes, which is often more valuable for survival than remembering exact factual details. The emotional core of experience gets preserved while peripheral facts dissolve, leaving us with feeling memories that guide behavior even when we can't articulate the specific reasons for our reactions. Topico 46. Forgetting helps memory function. Forgetting may feel like a flaw or failure, but it's actually an essential part of how memory works optimally. The brain is constantly taking in vast amounts of information, and letting go of less useful details helps make room for what matters most currently. Psychologists believe that forgetting allows us to generalize effectively from past experiences, rather than getting lost in endless specifics. It also prevents outdated information from interfering with new learning, which would create confusion and inefficiency. This adaptive forgetting can be thought of as pruning a tree or removing old branches so the healthy ones can grow stronger. Far from being a sign of weakness or a cognitive decline, the ability to forget is one of the mind's ways of staying efficient and focused. It ensures that the memories we carry are the ones most relevant to our present and future, rather than being cluttered with every trivial detail we've ever encountered. Perfect memory would actually be a curse, flooding consciousness with irrelevant information and making it impossible to find what matters. Forgetting is a feature, not an essential cognitive function that allows the memory system to operate efficiently. Without the ability to forget, learning new information would become progressively harder as old information accumulated and interfered, creating mental chaos rather than clarity. Topico 47. Brain adapts to inverted vision in classic experiments. People wore special glasses that inverted their vision, turning the visual world completely upside down. At first, the experience was profoundly disorienting and made simple tasks nearly impossible. But within days, the brain remarkably adjusted. Objects felt right side up again, even though the image entering the eyes remained reversed. This remarkable flexibility is an example of neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself in response to new input. When the glasses were finally removed, vision felt flipped again until the brain readjusted back to normal. The finding shows that perception is not a fixed recording of external reality, but an active construction constantly shaped by the brain's interpretation of sensory data. Even something as fundamental as up and down is partly a matter of adaptation rather than absolute perception. The brain doesn't just receive sensory information passively, it actively constructs a coherent perceptual world from whatever input it receives. If that input changes systematically, the brain adapts to create a functional perceptual experience regardless. This demonstrates the extraordinary flexibility of the perceptual system and how much of what we experience as objective reality is actually a constructed interpretation by the brain. Perception is more plastic than we imagine, capable of adapting to radical changes, given enough time and consistent input. Topico 48. Groups make riskier decisions in certain situations. Groups tend to make bolder, riskier choices than individuals would make alone. A phenomenon called group polarization. This can happen because discussion often amplifies dominant opinions, and shared enthusiasm can downplay or minimize potential dangers that individuals would recognize. The effect is visible in settings from business meetings to political rallies. While collective decision-making can draw on diverse perspectives in theory, it can also lead to risky shift, where the desire for unity and momentum outweighs caution and careful analysis. Being aware of this tendency allows groups to counterbalance it deliberately, by encouraging dissenting voices and building in deliberate pauses for reflection. In the end, the group mind can be a powerful tool, but like any tool, it must be used with care and awareness. The diffusion of responsibility in groups can make individuals feel less personally accountable for outcomes, leading to decisions that no single member would make independently. The group becomes more than the sum of its parts, sometimes amplifying wisdom, but often amplifying risk-taking. Understanding group dynamics and decision-making biases is crucial for organizations, governments, and any collective decision-making body. Without conscious attention to these effects, groups can make catastrophically poor decisions while each member feels absolved of personal responsibility. Tópico 49. Optical illusions reveal constructed perception. Optical illusions work because the brain doesn't just passively receive sensory input, it actively interprets it, filling in gaps and making predictions based on past experience and expectations. When these predictions clash with the raw data, the result can be an image that appears to shift, move, or hide details that are actually in plain sight. Illusions reveal the mental shortcuts the brain uses to make sense of the world quickly and efficiently. These shortcuts usually serve us well in normal circumstances, but they remind us powerfully that what we see is a version of reality reconstructed inside our heads, not reality itself captured objectively. Every perception is, in a sense, a personalized rendering influenced by past experiences, expectations, and current context. Two people can look at the same illusion and see genuinely different things because their brains are making different predictions about what should be there. Illusions are windows into the normally invisible process of perception, revealing how much interpretation and assumption goes into every moment of visual experience. They expose the gap between what's actually out there and what we consciously experience, showing how much a perception is construction rather than reception. Understanding this can make us more humble about our perceptions and more open to the possibility that others genuinely see the world differently. Not through bias, but through different perceptual processing shaped by different experiences. Tópico 50. Laughter builds resilience louder. Is you just a reaction to humor it as a kind of mental exercise that can build psychological resilience over time. When we lug, the brain releases endorphins and reduces levels of stress hormones like cortisol, creating a physiological state that makes it easier to cope with challenges. Shared laughter strengthens social bonds, providing a network of support that is crucial in difficult times. Over time, these moments of joy can act like repeated training sessions for the nervous system, teaching it to recover more quickly from stress and adversity. In this way, laughter becomes more than a fleeting pleasure. It's a resource stored within the body and mind, ready to be called upon when life demands courage and resilience. People who laugh regularly show better stress, recovery, and lower rates of depression. The social bonding created through shared laughter provides emotional support that buffers against life's difficulties. Laughter signals safety and connection, telling the nervous system that despite challenges, you're not facing them alone. Cultivating humor and seeking opportunities for laughter isn't frivolous, it's a legitimate form of resilience training. The ability to find humor even in difficult circumstances creates psychological flexibility and prevents getting stuck in rigid negative thinking patterns that amplify suffering. Tópico 51. Purpose extends lifespan. Research shows that people who feel a strong sense of purpose, a clear reason to get up each morning, often live longer, healthier lives. Purpose provides motivation, which can encourage healthier habits, reduces stress, and strengthens social connections that support well-being. It also seems to benefit the body directly, with studies linking purpose to lower levels of inflammatory markers and better cardiovascular health. This doesn't mean purpose has to be grand or world-changing. It can be as personal as caring for loved ones, pursuing a creative passion, or contributing to a community. Having something meaningful to work toward acts like a compass for the mind, guiding choices and sustaining resilience through difficulties. In times of hardship, purpose can serve as a steady light on the horizon, a reason to keep moving forward, one step at a time through the unfolding days. Purpose gives meaning to suffering, making difficult experiences feel worthwhile rather than pointless. This sense of meaning helps people persist through challenges that would otherwise feel unbearable. Without purpose, life's difficulties can feel meaningless and crushing. The biological benefits of purpose likely flow from reduced stress, better health behaviors, and stronger social connections, but the mechanism matters less than the clear evidence that having something to live for literally extends life itself. Topico 52. Fusiform face area recognizes faces. Deep within the temporal lobe lies the fusiform face area, a specialized brain region devoted exclusively to recognizing faces. This network is so finely tuned that it can identify familiar faces in less than a second, even in a crowd of hundreds. Damage to this area can result in prosopagnosia, or face blindness, a condition where individuals can see facial features clearly but struggle to recognize even close friends or family members. The importance of this system is rooted in our evolutionary history as deeply social creatures. Reading faces has been vital for detecting emotions, recognizing allies, and building social bonds throughout human history. Remarkably, this network doesn't just process human faces, it can adapt to recognize other familiar patterns like the markings of pets or the shape of a well-loved object. It's a testament to the brain's deep investment in social connection, shaping our ability to recognize the people who matter most to us. Face recognition happens so automatically that we rarely appreciate how sophisticated the underlying neural machinery truly is. The fusiform face area represents millions of years of evolution prioritizing social cognition, reflecting how crucial it has been to survival to quickly distinguish friend from stranger and to read emotional states from facial expressions. Tópico 53. Meditation changes brain structure. Meditation is more than a mental exercise or relaxation technique. Long-term practice can physically change the brain in measurable ways. MRI studies have found increased thickness in the prefrontal cortex, an area linked to decision-making and as well as changes in the hippocampus, which plays a crucial role in memory and learning. Regular meditation can also reduce the size of the amygdala, the brain center for fear and stress responses, suggesting a heightened capacity for calm. These structural changes reflect neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself in response to experience. Even short daily sessions can begin to alter neural patterns over weeks and months, enhancing attention, emotional regulation, and overall psychological well-being. In a world that often feels rushed and noisy, meditation offers a way to reshape the mind from the inside out. It builds inner stillness into the very fabric of the brain, creating structural changes that support greater equanimity and reduced reactivity. The changes aren't just functional, they're visible on brain scans, demonstrating that meditation isn't just a state, but a trait you can develop. The practice literally sculpts the brain toward greater calm and focus, providing evidence-based support for ancient contemplative claims about meditation's transformative power. The mind can change the brain, and those changes support further positive changes in mental states. Tópico 54. Out-of-body experiences can occur during near-death experiences, deep meditation, or even through targeted brain stimulation. People report feeling as if they have left their bodies, observing themselves from above or at a distance. Neuroscientists have linked these experiences to disruptions in the brain's integration of sensory information, particularly in the temporal parietal junction, which normally integrates signals from multiple senses to create our sense of bodily self. While often fleeting, these moments can feel vivid and profoundly real, leaving lasting impressions on those who experience them. Out-of-body perceptions can shift a person's sense of identity and deepen existential curiosity about consciousness. Whether interpreted as spiritual events or neurological phenomena, they highlight the brain's remarkable role in creating the sense of self, a sense that can, under the right conditions, untether and drift beyond the physical boundaries of the body. The experience challenges our everyday assumption that consciousness is firmly located inside our physical form, revealing how constructed and contingent that feeling of location actually is. These experiences demonstrate that our sense of self and location in space is actively constructed by the brain rather than being a direct given of consciousness. When that construction process is disrupted, the sense of self can float free, revealing its dependence on underlying neural integration. Topico 55. Priming changes behavior unconsciously. Priming occurs when exposure to certain words, images, or ideas subtly influences later behavior without conscious awareness. For example, reading words related to politeness can make people interrupt less often in conversation, while seeing references to aging might slow their walking speed, all without conscious awareness of being influenced. This happens because the brain uses recently activated concepts as shortcuts, shaping perception and response automatically. While the effects of priming are often short-lived, they reveal how sensitive we are to environmental cues. In everyday life, priming can be positive, inspiring productivity, kindness, or creativity, but it also shows how easily our minds can be nudged without our realizing it. Every setting we enter quietly sets the stage for how we think and act, activating concepts that shape behavior. The advertising industry has long understood priming, using it to influence purchasing decisions. Political campaigns use it to frame issues and candidates. Understanding priming helps us recognize when our behavior might be influenced by subtle environmental cues we have unconsciously noticed. The effect reveals how much of behavior is automatic and coup-driven rather than consciously chosen. We like to think we're in control of our actions, but priming demonstrates that context shapes behavior in ways that bypass conscious decision-making entirely. Topico 56. Kindness boosts immune function. Acts of kindness don't just make others feel good, they can benefit your health as well. Helping others has been linked to lower blood pressure, reduced stress hormones, and improved immune function in the helper. Psychologists suggest this may be due to the release of oxytocin, which promotes feelings of warmth and trust, while also supporting cardiovascular health. Even small gestures like holding a door or offering a smile can create these effects. Over time, kindness can become a reinforcing cycle. Doing good increases well-being, which in turn makes people more likely to continue helping. In this way, kindness is not just social glue. It's also a quiet form of self-care woven into the exchanges that connect us to one another. The helper's highs reveal a genuine mood boost and physiological benefit that comes from helping others. Evolution may have built this reward system to encourage cooperative behavior that benefited group survival. Understanding that kindness benefits the giver as much as the receiver can motivate more pro-social behavior. It is not selfish to help others, because it makes you feel good. That's exactly how evolution designed us to maintain social bonds, essential for survival. Topico 57. Posture influences mood. The way you hold your body can shape the way you feel. Standing or sitting upright can increase feelings of confidence and alertness, while slouching may reinforce fatigue or low mood. This link works through feedback loops between body and brain. Posture influences hormone levels, breathing patterns, and neural activity. In one study, participants who adopted power poses reported greater feelings of control and confidence, though the exact effects remain debated and require replication. Beyond confidence, posture can also affect energy levels by opening or restricting the chest and diaphragm, changing breathing efficiency. Small adjustments, sitting tall, relaxing the shoulders, lifting the head can subtly shift the mind toward greater clarity and presence. The body in many ways sets the stage for the story the mind tells itself. Collapsed posture tells a story of defeat or exhaustion, while open posture suggests capability and readiness. The brain listens to these bodily signals and adjusts mood accordingly. This bidirectional relationship between body and mind means we can intervene at either end. When changing thoughts feels difficult, changing posture offers a physical entry point to shifting mental state. The body becomes a tool for emotional regulation. Topico 58. Trauma can lead to growth, while trauma can cause deep pain that shouldn't be minimized. Some people emerge from it with greater resilience, empathy, or a renewed sense of purpose, a phenomenon known as post-traumatic growth. This doesn't mean that trauma was beneficial or should be sought. Rather, recovery can sometimes foster strengths that might not have developed otherwise. Psychologists have identified areas of growth such as stronger relationships, increased appreciation for life, and a deeper connection to personal values. The process often involves meaning-making, finding ways to integrate the experience into a larger narrative of life. While not everyone experiences post-traumatic growth, and it shouldn't be expected or demanded, those who do often describe it as a transformation forged in difficulty, like a tree growing stronger after surviving a storm. Some people find that surviving trauma creates resilience and wisdom they wouldn't have gained otherwise. This doesn't justify or minimize the trauma. It simply acknowledges that humans have remarkable capacity to find meaning and growth, even in the worst circumstances. The concept of post-traumatic growth shouldn't be used to minimize trauma or suggest that suffering is good, but it offers hope that healing can include positive changes alongside the processing of pain. Tópico 59. Estresse social contagious. Stress can be contagious, passing silently from one person to another without words. Simply observing someone's tense body language, strained facial expressions, or hearing changes in their voice can trigger a mirrored stress response in the observer's brain through empathy mechanisms. This social transmission of stress is thought to be rooted in empathy, our nervous systems, naturally tuning to the states of those around us. While this can help groups respond to threats collectively, it also means that one person's anxiety can ripple outward, affecting the mood of an entire room. The reverse is also true. Calmness can spread in much the same way, softening tension and encouraging steadiness. In this sense, managing our own stress is not only self-care, it's a quiet gift to those around us. We're constantly broadcasting our internal state through multiple channels, and others are unconsciously receiving and mirroring those signals. This creates a web of emotional contagion that can amplify stress or calm depending on what is being transmitted. Being aware of this social contagion can motivate us to manage our own stress, not just for ourselves but for the well-being of those around us. Our emotional regulation serves a social function, contributing to the emotional climate of shared spaces. Tópico 60. Solitary witness increases helping when we're alone and see someone in need. We tend to act quickly. There's no one else to defer responsibility to, making the situation clearly our responsibility. This contrasts with the bystander effect that can occur in groups where individuals hesitate, assuming someone else will step forward. Being the only witness removes that uncertainty, placing the decision squarely in our hands. In these moments, the impulse to help often feels direct and personal, uncomplicated by social dynamics. Psychologists suggest this reflects an ancient survival strategy. In small groups, every member's contribution was vital. There was no hiding in the crowd. Today, it's a reminder that sometimes the smallest, most immediate actions can make the biggest difference, especially when there's no one else around to take the first step. The clarity of sole responsibility can cut through the ambiguity and hesitation that crowds create. Without others to look to for cues or to share responsibility with, action becomes simpler. Understanding this dynamic can help us overcome the bystander effect, even in crowds. By consciously taking personal responsibility regardless of who else is present, we can ensure that help is provided rather than everyone waiting for someone else to act first. Tópico 61. Mirroring builds instant rapport. Subtly matching another person's gestures, posture, or speech patterns can create a sense of connection and trust. This unconscious tendency, known as the chameleon effect, is part of our social wiring, helping us bond with others. When done naturally, mirroring signals empathy and attentiveness, making the other person feel understood. It's why conversations often sync in rhythm, or why friends may find themselves laughing or leaning in at the same time. In professional settings, skilled negotiators sometimes use mirroring consciously to foster cooperation, while therapists use it to strengthen rapport. However, when forced or exaggerated, it can feel insincere or manipulative. In its truest form, mirroring is simply the body's way of saying, "I'm with you," without words. A quiet alignment of two nervous systems moving in time with each other like dancers following the same music. The mirroring happens automatically when we feel connected to someone, but it can also be done consciously to help build that connection. The effect works both ways. Mirroring creates rapport, and rapport increases mirroring, creating a positive feedback loop. Tópico 62. Learning creates new neural pathways. Every skill learned, from cooking a new recipe to mastering a musical instrument, reshapes the brain's neural connections. This process, called neuroplasticity, allows the brain to adapt to experiences throughout life, creating new pathways where none existed before. New learning strengthens synaptic pathways and can even create entirely new ones, much like forging fresh trails in a forest. MRI studies show that activities like juggling, language study, and complex problem solving can lead to measurable growth in certain brain regions. These changes aren't instant, but they accumulate with practice, becoming part of the brain's living architecture. The beauty of neuroplasticity is that it works at any age. Though it may slow over time, the potential for growth never fully disappears. Every new skill learned leaves a physical trace, a quiet mark of experience etched into the brain's evolving map. The brain you have today is not the brain you had last year, shaped by everything you've learned and practiced in between. This should be encouraging. Your cognitive abilities are unfixed at birth, but continue developing based on what you choose to practice. Mental decline with age isn't inevitably, it often reflects reduced learning and practice rather than biological necessity. Topiko 63. Location changes aid. Memory studying in different environments can help information stick more firmly in memory. This effect occurs because each location provides unique cues that the brain unconsciously associates with the material being learned. When you recall the information later, you have a richer web of associations to draw from. For example, alternating between a quiet room, a park bench, and a library can create subtle variations in lighting, background noise, and scent, all of which become retrieval cues. Psychologists suggest this technique can be particularly useful for preparing for exams or presentations. The same principle applies beyond studying. Practicing a skill in varied contexts can improve adaptability and performance. By gently shaking up routine, you give your brain more threads to weave into memory, creating a tapestry that's harder to unravel. Memory isn't stored in isolation but embedded in the context where it was learned, making varied contexts a tool for stronger encoding. The technique explains why it can be hard to remember something learned in one context when you in a completely different environment. Recreating aspects of the learning environment or physically can help retrieve information that seems forgotten. Topiko 64. Teaching strengthens understanding. Explaining a concept to someone else requires organizing your thoughts, finding clear language, and anticipating questions, all of which deepen your grasp of the material. This is sometimes called the protege effect, and it's why teachers often say they learn as much as they teach. When you teach, you actively retrieve and reconstruct knowledge, strengthening the neural pathways that store it. Even the process of preparing to teach can improve retention as your brain engages with the information in a more structured, purposeful way. This approach works for skills as well as facts. Showing a friend how to cook a dish, for example, reinforces your own muscle memory and procedural understanding. In a way, teaching transforms knowledge from something you hold passively to something you actively live, making it a more permanent part of your mind's library. The more you explain, the more the information becomes truly integrated into your understanding. Teaching reveals gaps in your own knowledge that passive study might miss. When you can't explain something clearly, you've identified exactly what you need to study more deeply. Teaching becomes a diagnostic tool for identifying weaknesses and understanding. Topiko 65. Evolutionary fears are inherited. Certain fears, such as the fear of snakes, spiders, or heights, appear more readily in humans and other primates, even without direct negative experiences. Psychologists and evolutionary biologists believe these fears are evolutionarily prepared, giving our ancestors an advantage in avoiding danger. Studies have shown that people can develop fear responses to these stimuli more quickly than to neutral objects like flowers or houses. While modern life has made many of these dangers less relevant, the underlying predisposition remains. This evolutionary inheritance means our emotional responses aren't shaped only by personal experience, but also by the long history of survival encoded in our nervous systems. In some cases, our instincts are whispers from a past where a single moment's caution could mean the difference between life and death. These prepared fears likely saved countless ancestors from deadly encounters, getting encoded into our genes over millions of years. We inherit the accumulated wisdom of survival from all who came before us, even when that wisdom no longer applies to modern life. Understanding the evolutionary basis of fears can make them easier to work with. They're not irrational. They were perfectly rational for our ancestors. They're just responding to a world that no longer exists. Topiko 66. Multitasking reduces memory quality. Switching between tasks may feel productive, but it often comes at the cost of memory accuracy and depth. When attention is divided, the brain can't fully encode each task's details, leading to weaker recall later. Multitasking also increases the chance of source confusion, where you remember information but forget where it came from or what context it belonged to. Over time, habitual multitasking can train the brain to favor breadth over depth, making sustained focus more difficult. Psychologists recommend monotasking, dedicating focused time to one activity for better learning and retention. While our modern environment tempts us to do many things at once, the mind is at its sharpest when allowed to dwell deeply on a single thread, weaving it securely into memory rather than skimming across multiple surface-level engagements. The quality of attention determines the quality of memory, and divided attention produces fragmented, shallow memories that fade quickly. The irony is that multitasking feels efficient in the moment, but is actually profoundly inefficient for learning and retention. Single tasking, though it feels slower, ultimately produces better outcomes in less total time. Topico 67. Time perception varies by context. Time perception is fluid, shaped by attention, emotion, and novelty. Moments of danger or intense focus can feel longer as the brain records more sensory details per second, creating denser memories. Conversely, familiar routines can seem to vanish quickly, with hours passing in what feels like minutes. This effect explains why childhood often seems to stretch endlessly. Every experience is new, while adulthood can feel faster as novelty decreases. Psychologists suggest that deliberately seeking out new activities can slow the perceived passage of time, adding richness to each day. In this way, our sense of time is less like a clock and more like an accordion, expanding and contracting with the music of our experiences. Time is unobjectively experienced. It's constructed by the brain based on the density of new experiences and emotional intensity. This is why time flies when you're having fun, and drags during boredom. Attention and novelty literally alter temporal perception. Understanding this can help us live more fully. Seeking novelty and being present to experience are yonder just enriching. They actually make life feel longer by creating denser, more distinct memories that resist the time compression of routine. Topico 68. Memory reconsolidation allows change. I've found ways to weaken or even erase specific memories in animals. By disrupting the reconsolidation process, the period when a memory is recalled and then stored again. While still largely experimental in humans, this approach has been explored as a potential treatment for traumatic memories. By interfering with the brain's chemical pathways during reconsolidation, scientists can make certain memories less vivid or emotionally charged. The possibility raises both hope and ethical questions. Could erasing pain also erase important parts of identity? For now, the research reminds us that memory is not a fixed recording, but a living, changing construct, one that can, in certain circumstances, be. Every time you recall a memory, you're not playing back a recording, you're reconstructing it, and that reconstruction can be influenced. This reconsolidation window offers a potential intervention point for reducing the emotional charge of traumatic memories. The memory of what happened remains, but the overwhelming fear or pain associated with it can be reduced, making it more manageable. The ethical implications are profound. If we can edit memories, should we? What makes us who we are if our memories can be altered? These questions will only become more pressing as the technology develops. Topico 69. False memories feel completely real. False memories aren't just fuzzy recollections or vague impressions. They can feel as vivid and detailed as genuine ones, complete with sensory details and emotional responses. Experiments have shown that suggestion, imagination, and even photographs can lead people to remember events that never occurred. The brain builds memories by reconstructing details each time they're recalled, which means they can shift subtly over time. This flexibility is normally useful, allowing memories to adapt and update, but it also leaves them open to distortion. In some cases, people may confidently recall entire scenarios that are entirely fabricated, complete with emotions and sensory impressions. It's a reminder that memory is not a perfect arc of it's a story our mind tells, and like any story, it can change in the telling. False memories can be implanted surprisingly easily through suggestion and leading questions, which has enormous implications for eyewitness testimony and recovered memories in therapy. Just because a memory feels real and detailed doesn't guarantee it actually happened. This isn't to say all memories are false, but it means we should hold them with appropriate humility. recognizing that even our most vivid recollections might not be entirely accurate reconstructions of what actually occurred. Topiko 70. Brain fills visual gaps automatically. Everyone has a blind spot where the optic nerve meets the retina, creating an area with no photoreceptors. Yet we rarely notice it because the brain automatically fills in the missing information using surrounding details and patterns. This filling in process happens constantly, not just at the blind spot, smoothing over small gaps in vision caused by blinking, shadows, or obstructions. Most of the time the result is seamless, creating the illusion of complete visual coverage. But it means that what we see is partly a construction, not a direct capture of reality. In this way, the brain acts like an editor, presenting a polished version of the world rather than the raw footage. We live in an image shaped as much by interpretation and assumption as by light actually entering our eyes. The brain is constantly making educated guesses about what should be in our visual field, creating a coherent picture from incomplete data. This reveals a profound truth perception isn't passive reception of information, but active construction of a coherent experience. The brain doesn't show us reality directly, but rather its best guess about reality based on partial information and prior expectations. Topiko 71. Your name activates self-awareness. Your name is like a personal alarm bell for the brain. Even in a noisy room, hearing it can cut through the chatter and capture your attention instantly. This is known as the cocktail party effect. Brain scans show that hearing your own name triggers heightened activity in the medial prefrontal cortex, an area tied to self-awareness and personal identity. The reaction is automatic and often emotional, as names are deeply tied to identity and social connection. This sensitivity likely evolved because recognizing when someone was addressing you directly could mean safety, opportunity, or vital information. Even when whispered from across a distance, your name has the power to pierce through distractions and pull you back into the present moment. Like a small thread connecting you to the world around you, your name serves as an anchor to your social identity. It represents you in the social world, carrying your reputation and relationships. The special status of our own names in perception reveals how fundamentally social we are. We're constantly monitoring the environment for personally relevant information, and our names are tagged as maximally relevant, ensuring they break through even when attention is focused elsewhere. Topiko 72. Implicit biases operate unconsciously. Biases aren't always deliberate or conscious. The brain's tendency to form quick impressions and categorize information can lead to implicit biases, automatic preferences, or associations that operate below awareness. These can influence decisions, perceptions, and interactions, even in people who value fairness and equality consciously. Implicit bias tests reveal that such associations can be surprisingly resistant to change through conscious intention alone. But awareness is the first step in countering them. By slowing down decisions, seeking diverse perspectives, and questioning gut reactions, we can begin to challenge these hidden patterns. This process doesn't erase bias entirely, but it can weaken its influence, allowing our actions to better reflect our conscious values. In a way, it's like learning to spot a current beneath the surface once. You know it's there. You can choose how to navigate it. Implicit biases form through cultural conditioning and repeated exposure to stereotypes, often contradicting our explicit beliefs. They're not evidence of bad character, but of living in a society with biased messages and representations. Topiko 73. Conformity shapes opinions. Humans are deeply social, and our opinions can be swayed simply by the views of those around us. In classic experiments, participants were willing to give obviously wrong answers to simple questions when everyone else in the group did the same. A phenomenon known as conformity. This pull toward agreement can be stronger when the group is unanimous or when we feel uncertain. Conformity isn't always negative. It can promote cooperation and shared norms that help groups function, but it can also lead us to ignore our own judgment in favor of the crowd. The awareness of this tendency can help us pause, examine the evidence independently, and ask whether agreement is genuine or simply a desire to fit in. Sometimes the quietest act of independence is holding to the truth when every voice around you says otherwise. Conformity served our ancestors well, as going against the group could mean exclusion and death. But in modern contexts, it can lead to terrible decisions when groups reinforce each other's errors and nobody speaks up. Understanding conformity helps us resist it when necessary. True critical thinking requires the courage to disagree with consensus when evidence demands it, even at the cost of social comfort. Topiko 74. Sleep produces creative insights. While the body rests, the brain continues working, reorganizing memories, making connections, and even solving problems. This is why answers sometimes come in dreams, or why a solution feels clear in the morning after seeming impossible the night before. During certain stages of sleep, especially REM, the brain is freer to explore unusual associations, unbound by the constraints of waking logic. Artists, scientists, and inventors have all credited sleep with breakthroughs. This creative problem-solving happens because the sleeping brain blends information in novel ways, finding patterns that waking consciousness might overlook. It is a reminder that rest is not idleness. It's an active state where the mind works quietly behind the scenes, ready to surprise us with sudden clarity when the day begins. The relaxation of logical constraints during sleep allows the brain to make connections it would unmake while awake. When executive control keeps thinking within conventional pathways, sleep essentially provides a different cognitive, modeless, logical, but more creative, making unexpected associations that can lead to insights and solutions. This is why sleeping on a problem is genuinely good advice, backed by neuroscience. Topico 75. Teaching strengthens memory pathways. When you teach something you've learned, you engage in active recall, forcing the brain to retrieve and organize the information coherently. This process strengthens memory pathways, making the knowledge more durable and accessible. The act of explaining also reveals gaps in understanding, encouraging deeper learning to fill those gaps. Even informal teaching, like telling a friend about a documentary you watched, can reinforce memory of the content. Psychologists call this the protege effect, and it's why teachers, tutors, and coaches often know their subjects so well. In teaching, you transform passive knowledge into an active skill, embedding it more firmly into your mental framework. The more you explain, the more the information becomes a part of you, integrated into your understanding rather than sitting as isolated facts. Teaching forces you to see the material from different angles, anticipate questions, and find clear explanations. This multifaceted engagement creates stronger, more flexible memory traces than passive review ever could. If you want to truly master something, try teaching a tool. Quickly discover what you actually understand versus what you only thought you understood. Topico 76. Doodling supports concentration far from being a sign of distraction. Doodling can actually support concentration during passive listening tasks. In one study, participants who doodled while listening to a dull audio recording remembered more details than those who did undoodle. The light engagement of doodling may prevent the mind from fully wandering off task, keeping it loosely anchored to the present task without requiring full attention. This effect works because the brain has a limited capacity for attention. A small repetitive activity can fill unused mental space without taking focus away from the main activity. For some people, doodling during lectures or meetings is like holding a gentle tether between their wandering thoughts and the information in front of them. In the quiet strokes of a pen, attention finds its rhythm, sustained by just enough activity to prevent complete disengagement. The key is that doodling is automatic and requiring minimal cognitive resources while providing just enough stimulation to prevent boredom. This challenges the conventional view that stillness equals attention. For some brains, a little background activity actually enhances rather than detracts from focus on the primary task, providing an outlet for restless energy. Tópico 77. Facial expressions create emotions. The simple act of smiling, even when not prompted by joy, can activate brain pathways that release mood-lifting chemicals like dopamine and serotonin. This is the facial feedback hypothesis. In action, our expressions influence our emotions as much as the other way around. In experiments, people asked to hold a pen between their teeth, forcing a smile, reported finding jokes funnier than those who frowned. While a smile won't erase serious stress or sadness, it can create a small upward shift in emotional state, making it easier to face challenges. It's a reminder that body and mind are in constant conversation, and sometimes the body can speak first, initiating an emotional shift that the mind then follows. The mechanism works through direct neural connections between facial muscles and emotion centers in the brain. The face doesn't just express emotion, it helps generate it through bottom-up processing. This gives us a practical tool for mood regulation. When feeling down, consciously adopting a slight smile, not a forced grin, but a gentle, soft expression can nudge mood in a more positive direction through pure physiological feedback. Topico 78. Smell and taste are intertwined. What we call taste is largely a blend of flavor and aroma. The tongue can detect only 5 basic tastes: sweet, salty, sour, bitter, and umami, while the thousands of subtle flavors we perceive come from the sense of smell. When you eat with a blocked nose, food often seems bland because those aromatic signals are missing. The brain fuses taste and smell into a single integrated experience, processing them together in regions tied to memory and emotion. This is why certain flavors can instantly transport you back to a specific time or place. In Ebri Vitae, the senses work together to create something richer and more complex than either could alone. The intimate connection between smell and taste explains why wine tasting and food appreciation rely so heavily on aroma. Professional tasters train their sense of smell as much as taste, recognizing that aroma carries most of the complexity. This integration of senses reminds us that perception is undivided into separate channels, but is a unified multisensory construction. The brain creates a single coherent experience from multiple inputs, blending them seamlessly. Topico 79. Spaced practice beats cramming instead of cramming all at once. Spreading learning over multiple sessions, known as the spacing effect, leads to better long-term retention. This works because each review strengthens the memory, and the time between sessions allows for some forgetting to occur. That forgetting requires effort to retrieve the information during the next session, and that effortful retrieval is what reinforces the neural pathways, making the memory more durable. Whether studying a language, practicing music, or learning names, spacing practice sessions can make the knowledge stick for months or years rather than days. It's the difference between writing in wet sand and carving into stone. The spacing creates multiple encoding opportunities and leverages the benefits of retrieval practice, creating stronger memories than massed practice ever could. The challenge is that spaced practice feels slower and less efficient in the short term, even though it's vastly superior for long-term retention. Students often favor cramming because it creates a temporary sense of fluency that feels like learning. But that fluency is illusory, fading rapidly after the test. Spaced practice feels harder because you're actually forgetting between sessions. But that forgetting is precisely what makes subsequent retrieval so beneficial for permanent learning. Topico 80. Unconscious processes precede awareness. Experiments using brain imaging have found that neural activity can predict a decision seconds before a person becomes consciously aware of making it. This suggests that much of what we think of as choice begins in unconscious processes, with consciousness arriving later to take ownership. While this doesn't mean free will is an illusion, it does reveal that our awareness is only part of a larger decision-making system. The mind works like a deep ocean surface. Waves of conscious thought are shaped by unseen currents far below. Much of mental processing happens outside awareness, with consciousness receiving and rationalizing decisions already made by unconscious systems. This doesn't make decisions any less ours, but it does challenge the naive view that consciousness is where decisions originate. The finding has sparked philosophical debate about free will and moral responsibility. If decisions are made unconsciously before we're aware of them, are we truly choosing? Most neuroscientists argue that the unconscious processes are still us, making it a meaningless distinction. But it does suggest that the feeling of conscious deliberation and choice may be somewhat illusory, with consciousness constructing a narrative about decisions that were actually made through unconscious processing. Topico 81. Synesthesia blends senses. For people with a form of synesthesia, certain sounds can trigger the perception of colors. A musical note might appear as a burst of blue, or a spoken word might carry a soft haze of green. These color associations are consistent for each person and often appear early in life. Neuroscientists believe this blending of senses occurs because of increased connectivity between brain regions that usually process sound and vision separately. While synesthesia is uncommon, affecting only about 4% of people, it offers a glimpse into the brain's remarkable flexibility and its ability to create rich, layered experiences from the world around us. For those who have it, music isn't just heard it seen, like watching a silent fireworks display with every chord and melody. Synesthesia reveals that the boundaries between senses are more fluid than most people experience, capable of cross-activation and blending. Different forms of synesthesia exist. Some people taste words, others see time as having spatial locations, and still others experience personalities for numbers. Each form reveals different ways sensory and cognitive systems can become cross-wired during development. Jopico 82. Social stories override facts. Stories about other people's behavior, whether positive or negative, tend to stick in memory more than neutral information or abstract facts. This bias may come from evolution, where tracking reputations and social alliances was crucial for survival. Knowing who could be trusted, who might pose a threat, and who contributed to the group offered a real advantage. Even today, gossip engages the brain's social reasoning networks, making it more memorable than other types of information. While gossip can be harmful if false or malicious, it can also serve as informal social regulation, reinforcing group norms and shared values. Its staying power in memory is a reminder of how deeply we are wired for social awareness, and how the tales we pass along can shape the invisible threads between us, defining social networks and group identity. Gossip isn't just idle chatter, it's how social information flows through networks, maintaining cooperation and punishing defection. The negative connotation of gossip obscures its functional value in maintaining social order. Before written laws and formal institutions, reputation tracked through gossip was the primary mechanism for encouraging cooperation and deterring exploitation. Tópico 83. Reframing, reduces, estresse. Reframing a stressful situation, looking at it from a different angle, can lower its emotional weight significantly. Psychologists call this cognitive reappraisal, and it works by changing the meaning we assign to an event. For example, viewing a challenge as an opportunity to grow rather than a threat can reduce anxiety and improve. Brain scans show that reappraisal activates the prefrontal cortex, which helps regulate the amygdala, the brain's fear center. This shift doesn't erase the difficulty, but it can create space between stimulus and reaction, allowing for a calmer, more deliberate response. Over time, the habit of reappraisal can make the mind more resilient, turning stress into a teacher rather than an enemy. Reappraisal is not denial or minimization, it's finding a more accurate or helpful interpretation of events. The goal isn't positive thinking for its own sake, but finding interpretations that reduce unnecessary suffering while maintaining realistic assessment. The skill can be practiced and developed, becoming an automatic habit that provides resilience during difficult times. How we frame events matters as much as the events themselves in determining our emotional response. Tópico 84. Fatigue enhances creativity. It may seem counterintuitive, but a mildly tired brain can sometimes think more creatively than a fully alert one. When we're slightly fatigued, our mental filters loosen, allowing more unusual connections to surface. This can be especially useful for tasks that require divergent thinking, brainstorming, inventing, or problem-solving. In unconventional ways, psychologists suggest that the relaxed control of a tired mind can free it from rigid patterns, opening the door to novel ideas. Of course, exhaustion hinders most types of work significantly, but in that sweet spot between wakefulness and fatigue, the mind can wander just far enough to stumble onto unexpected brilliance. It is one reason some people find their most original ideas late at night or early in the morning, when thoughts drift a little more freely, unfiltered by the executive control that dominates waking consciousness. The key is being tired enough that cognitive inhibition is reduced, but not so tired that working memory fails and attention collapses. That narrow window allows unusual associations without complete cognitive breakdown. Tópico 85. Group consensus shapes individual beliefs. Group consensus can be a powerful force, often nudging people to adopt positions they might not hold individually. This is a form of conformity where the desire for social harmony overrides personal judgment. Classic studies have shown that people will agree with a group's incorrect answer to an obvious question, simply to avoid standing out or facing social exclusion. While conformity can promote cooperation and cohesion, it can also suppress creativity and dissent. Recognizing the pool of group opinion allows us to pause and consider whether agreement reflects our own beliefs or the group's influence. In a world full of collective voices, the quietest and often most important one to hear is our own. The urge to conform is deeply wired, reflecting our evolutionary history in small groups where exclusion could mean death. But in complex modern societies, blind conformity can lead to terrible collective decisions. Developing the capacity for independent judgment while remaining socially connected is one of the key challenges of modern life. We need both the wisdom of crowds and the courage of individual dissent, knowing when to listen to others and when to trust our own assessment. Tópico 86. Social praise activates reward centers. Receiving a compliment can light up the brain's reward centers in much the same way as receiving money or winning a prize. Areas such as the striatum respond to social praise, releasing dopamine and fostering positive emotions. Compliments can also improve performance, as encouragement boosts motivation and confidence. This is why positive feedback is a powerful tool in teaching, teamwork, and relationships. The effect isn't limited to elaborate praise. Small, sincere acknowledgements can spark this response. At its core, a compliment is both recognition and connection, a way of telling someone they are seen and valued in a moment that can resonate far beyond the words themselves. The social brain treats praise as a reward as valuable as physical rewards, reflecting how important social standing and connection have always been to human survival and well-being. We're wired to seek approval and avoid rejection. This makes social feedback a powerful motivator, for better or worse. Positive reinforcement can encourage growth and effort, while criticism can be devastating even when it's accurate and well-intended, because it threatens our social standing and sense of worth. Tópico 87. Empathy activates pain circuits. The mind's ability to simulate experience extends even to sensations we've never personally endured. Simply watching someone in pain or reading a vivid description can activate brain areas involved in our own pain processing. This capacity likely evolved to enhance empathy, helping us avoid danger and understand the suffering of others through observation rather than direct experience. While imagined pain is not as intense as the real thing, the overlap in brain activity can still be powerful enough to make us wince at another's injury. This simulation also means that fear and anxiety can arise from anticipated pain, influencing our choices, even before any real harm occurs. The brain's simulation of others' experiences is what makes empathy possible. We literally feel a shadow of what they're feeling. This shared neural circuitry for pain is the biological basis of compassion. When we see someone suffering, we don't just intellectually understand their pain, we feel it in our own pain networks, creating genuine motivation to help. The dark side is vicarious trauma. Repeatedly witnessing others' suffering can accumulate in the observer's pain circuits, creating genuine psychological harm, even without direct experience of trauma. Empathy has costs, as well as benefits. Tópico 88. And sleep deprivation blocks memory formation. A lack of sleep can severely impair the brain's ability to store new information in long-term memory. During deep sleep, the hippocampus works to consolidate memories, transferring them from temporary storage into long-term memory. Without sufficient rest, this process is disrupted, leaving the mind unable to hold on to details from the day. Even a single night of poor sleep can weaken learning and recall significantly. Chronic sleep deprivation can lead to more lasting cognitive decline. This is why rest is essential, not only for health but also for learning and memory. Without it, the stories of our days fade before they can be written into permanent memory, lost like dreams upon waking. Sleep isn't wasted time, it's when the brain does critical maintenance work, sorting through the day's experiences and deciding what to keep and what to discard. Shortchanging sleep means shortchanging learning and memory consolidation. The pressure to sacrifice sleep for productivity is ultimately counterproductive, as the cognitive impairment from sleep loss far exceeds any time gained. You learn and remember less, think more slowly, and make worse decisions, all while feeling that you're functioning normally. Tópico 89. Repetition creates illusion of truth. The illusory truth effect describes our tendency to accept statements as true if we hear them often enough, regardless of their actual accuracy. Repetition increases familiarity, and familiarity feels like truth to the brain through processing fluency. This mental shortcut evolved to help us learn from patterns. Things we encounter repeatedly are often more reliable than single exposures. But in the modern world, it can be exploited by misinformation and propaganda campaigns. Being aware of this bias allows us to slow down and fact-check before accepting repeated claims at face value. In a noisy information landscape, the mind's comfort with the familiar can be both a strength and a vulnerability. The effect is particularly concerning in the age of social media, where false information can be repeated thousands of times, creating an illusion of truth through sheer repetition rather than evidence or logic. Understanding the illusory truth effect can help us be more critical consumers of information, recognizing that how often we've heard something says nothing about whether it's actually true. Frequency and truth are independent. Tópico 90. Specialized face processing regions. Faces are so important to human interaction that the brain devotes specialized regions to recognizing and interpreting them. The fusiform face area, located in the temporal lobe, allows us to quickly identify individuals, react emotions, and detect subtle changes in expression. This system is so efficient that we often recognize a face faster than we can recall the associated name. It's also why we sometimes see faces in clouds, toast, or random patterns. The brain is primed to find them everywhere, even when they're not really there. The importance of this skill reflects our evolutionary history, where reading faces was central to communication and survival. Face recognition happens automatically and extremely quickly, usually within a fraction of a second. The specialization is so strong that damage to these regions can leave people unable to recognize even close family members, while other visual processing remains intact. This condition, prosopagnosia, reveals how modular and specialized visual processing truly is. The fact that we can see faces in random patterns, a phenomenon called pareidolia, shows how biased the visual system is toward face detection, reflecting how crucial this ability has been throughout human evolution. Tupico 91. Anticipation exceeds experience. The joy of looking forward to something, a trip, a holiday, a long-awaited meeting, can sometimes outweigh the pleasure of the event itself. Psychologists call this the anticipation effect, and it happens because imagining the future allows the mind to craft an ideal version, free from the unpredictability and compromises of reality. Anticipation can lift mood, increase motivation, and even reduce stress in the days leading up to an event. When the moment arrives, it may not match the vivid picture we've built, but that doesn't diminish the value of looking forward. In a way, anticipation is its own reward, a slow, sweet unfolding in the mind that stretches happiness across time, letting us enjoy not just what is, but what might be. The brain's reward systems activate during anticipation, providing pleasure before the event even occurs. This explains why anticipation can feel better than reality. It engages reward without the letdown of reality falling short of imagination. Fantasy is perfect. Reality is constrained by physics and other people's agendas. Understanding this can help us savor anticipation as its own experience, rather than just a means to an end. The journey really can be better than the destination, not as a cliché, but as a neurological reality. Tupico 92. Split-second facial judgments. A single glance is enough for the brain to form an impression of a face, sometimes in less than 100 milliseconds faster than conscious thought. This lightning-fast evaluation involves the amygdala and other areas responsible for processing social cues, assessing trustworthiness, and recognizing familiarity. These judgments often feel intuitive because they bypass deliberate reasoning, emerging as a gut sense rather than a conscious thought process. While snap judgments can be useful in detecting danger or recognizing friends quickly, they can also be colored by unconscious bias. Awareness of this speed can help us pause, having slower, more thoughtful impressions, the chance to form and override initial reactions. In the space of a blink, the mind sketches a portrait, but it's only the first draft, subject to revision with more information. The speed is both feature and bug. It helped our ancestors make quick friend or foe decisions that could mean survival. But in complex modern societies, it leads to prejudice and discrimination based on superficial features. Training ourselves to recognize and question these snap judgments is one way to reduce their influence. But it requires conscious effort because the initial judgments happen automatically, before conscious control can intervene. Tópico 93. And scent alters mood unconsciously. The link between scent and emotion is immediate and often completely unconscious. Odors travel directly to the limbic system, bypassing the brain's rational processing centers. This means that a faint floral fragrance, a hint of wood smoke, or the smell of fresh bread can alter mood before you are even consciously aware of detecting any scent. Calming scents, like lavender, may slow heart rate and promote relaxation, while sharper smells like citrus can increase alertness and energy. These effects are subtle but powerful, shaping the emotional background of a moment, whether in nature, at home, or in a busy street. The air carries invisible signals that the brain translates into felinsa, quiet influence on the mind's weather. Scent works so powerfully because it has processed by ancient brain structures involved in emotion and memory before reaching conscious awareness. This direct route makes scent uniquely powerful for influencing mood and evoking memories. A single smell can transport you across decades in an instant, bringing back not just a memory, but the actual emotional state you experienced. The perfume and aromatherapy industries have long understood this power, using scent to create specific emotional states. Whether the claims of aromatherapy are scientifically valid or not, scent clearly has psychological effects that can be harnessed. Tópico 94 sound triggers physical reactions. A gentle melody might slow your breathing, while a sudden loud noise can spike your heart rate instantly. Sound is processed not only by the auditory system but also by brain regions linked to emotion, memory, and movement. Certain frequencies can create tingling sensations, as in ASMR, while others may cause discomfort or tension. These physical reactions are part of an ancient survival system. Quick responses to auditory cues could mean the difference between safety and danger. In modern life, they remain a reminder of how deeply sound is tied to the body's rhythms. Music, voices, and even environmental noise can all leave subtle fingerprints on our physical state, changing breathing, heart rate, and muscle tension. Sound affects us even when we're not consciously attending to it. Background music in stores influences purchasing. Noise pollution increases stress hormones, and soothing sounds can lower blood pressure and promote healing. We're constantly bathed in soundscapes that shape our physical and emotional states beneath awareness. Creating healthier acoustic environments, reducing noise pollution, incorporating natural sounds, using music therapeutically can meaningfully improve well-being. Tópico 95. Solitude enhances deep thinking when working alone. People often engage in deeper, more reflective thought, free from the influence of others' opinions and the social dynamics of groups. This can lead to more original solutions and creative insights, though it may lack the stimulation and feedback of group collaboration. Brain activity during solitary problem-solving often shows greater activation in areas linked to introspection and internal visualization. Working alone allows for unfiltered creativity without the conformity pressure that groups create, but it also requires self-discipline to stay on track without external accountability. In contrast, group settings can boost energy and idea sharing but risk conformity and groupthink. Knowing when to seek solitude and when to collaborate can help harness the strengths of both approaches. Solitude provides space for the mind to wander and make unexpected connections without the interruption and social pressure of others. The key is balancing both modes. Some problems benefit from collective wisdom and diverse perspectives, while others require the sustained, deep focus that only solitude provides. The best thinkers know when to withdraw and when to engage. Tópico 96. Emotion spotlights memory. Emotion acts like a spotlight on memory, sharpening details and strengthening recall. Whether the moment is joyful, frightening, or sorrowful, heightened arousal triggers the amygdala to signal the hippocampus, prioritizing the event for long-term storage. This is why we can recall where we were and how we felt during major life events, even decades later, with remarkable clarity. While emotion improves memory for the central details, it can sometimes blur peripheral once the feeling remains clear, but the exact sequence of events may fade. These memories form part of the emotional fabric of our lives, moments where the heart and mind worked in unison to ensure they would not be forgotten. Emotional memories are the landmarks of our personal narratives, the pivotal moments that define our life stories. The intensity of emotion during encoding predicts how well the memory will be retained. Traumatic memories are so persistent, partly because the extreme emotion during encoding creates an indelible trace. This emotional enhancement of memory is adaptive remembering. Emotionally significant events helps us avoid dangers and seek rewards in the future. But it can also lead to biased memories, as we remember emotional moments more than the mundane reality that fills most of life. Tópico 97. Mirroring signals alignment. Subtle imitation of gestures, posture, and expressions can increase persuasiveness and rapport between people. This non-verbal mirroring signals attentiveness and alignment, often without conscious awareness from either person involved. In negotiations, sales, and even casual conversation, mirroring can make the listener feel more understood, which increases receptivity to ideas. The effect works best when natural and understated. Forced imitation can feel manipulative and insincere. At its most genuine, mirroring is simply a reflection of empathy, a silent conversation between bodies that reinforces the spoken one without any conscious intention or manipulation. The synchronization happens automatically when people feel connected. Mirroring is one way the body communicates, "I'm with you," beneath the level of words. It's part of the dance of human connection, the unconscious choreography of successful social interaction. Research shows that good rapport is associated with increased mirroring, and deliberately mirroring someone can help build rapport. The effect is bidirectional connection causes mirroring, and mirroring helps create connection. Tópico 98. Brain rewires throughout life. Neuroplasticity allows the brain to adapt and change its structure in response to learning, experience, and even injury. New connections form between neurons, and existing pathways can strengthen or weaken depending on how often they reused. This adaptability is greatest in childhood but continues into old age, enabling recovery after stress, adaptation to new skills, and the ability to reshape habits at any age. Every new experience, from meeting someone new to practicing a craft, subtly alters the brain's architecture. We are, in a very real sense, sculptors of our own minds, shaping our neural architecture through the choices we make about what to practice and learn. The brain remains plastic throughout life, though the degree of plasticity decreases with age. This should be encouraging for everyone. Your brain is not fixed, but continues developing based on how you use it. Mental decline is not inevitable with age, but often reflects reduced learning and practice rather than biological necessity. The key to maintaining cognitive function throughout life is continued learning, novel experiences, an effortful mental activity. Use it or lose it is unjust as saying it as a description of how neuroplasticity works throughout the lifespan. Tópico 99. Extreme emotion warps, time moments of fear, excitement, or AU can warp time perception dramatically. Under stress, the brain processes more sensory information per second, making a moment feel longer in retrospect as more memories are formed. In contrast, intense joy or focus can make hours seem to vanish in an instant, as attention narrows and self-maneuvering decreases. This elasticity in time perception reflects the brain's adaptive responses to important events, ensuring that crucial moments are noticed and remembered. It's why a few seconds in danger can feel like minutes, and why an evening of laughter can disappear in a heartbeat. Time perception is not fixed, but fluid, shaped by arousal, attention, and emotional intensity. The subjective experience of time passing is constructed by the brain based on these factors, rather than being a direct perception of physical time. Two people in the same situation may experience time quite differently based on their internal state. Understanding this can help us appreciate that time is more subjective than we typically recognize. We can't control physical time, but we can influence our experience of it through attention, novelty, and emotional engagement. Tópico 100. The mind remains a mystery, despite decades of research and remarkable advances in neuroscience. Vast questions remain about how the mind works. From the origins of consciousness to the depths of memory and emotion, each discovery seems to open new doors, revealing layers of complexity we hadn't imagined. The mind is not just a collection of processes that can be mapped and explained. It's a landscape where thoughts, dreams, and awareness flow together in ways we're only beginning to understand. In exploring it, we're not only studying biology, we're also tracing the outlines of what it means to be human. For now, many of its secrets remain, inviting us to keep looking inward toward the quiet depths we carry with us everywhere. The hard problem of consciousness, how subjective experience arises from physical matter, remains unsolved. We can map every neuron and trace every connection, but we still don't know how matter becomes mind, how neurons become thoughts, how electrical patterns become feelings. This mystery sits at the heart of human existence. Perhaps some mysteries aren't meant to be fully solved. Perhaps the mind investigating itself is like a hand trying to grasp itself, an eye trying to see itself fundamentally limited by its own nature, forever approaching, but never quite reaching complete self-understanding. The journey through the mind, and so our journey through the mind draws gently to a close. We've wandered through memories and dreams, traced the currents of thought, and stood at the quiet edges of what we know about ourselves. Each fact, each reflection has been a small light in the vast inner landscape. A reminder that even in stillness, the mind is alive with wonders beyond imagining. Perhaps some of these ideas have lingered with you, or perhaps they've already dissolved into the soft haze of rest. That's the beauty of a night spent exploring. You don't need to hold on to every detail. The mystery will still be there tomorrow, waiting for you. If you happen to still be awake, you can go ahead and watch the next video now. But if your eyes are heavy, you can simply let yourself drift, carried by the gentle hum of your own thoughts. Sleep well, and good night.